And it's live.
And we're live.
I was right, because we were talking about doing a cold open. It meant that we automatically didn't do a cold open when you hit the live button. Everyone shut up.
I'm just
I
muting
mean,
myself so you don't hear the clicking. That's all.
at least there wasn't a countdown.
The ultimate meta thing would have been for us to do a cold open talking about doing a cold open. And then it would have been
Meta.
just, something quite special, I think. But we've missed that chance. There's always next time. Hello, chat. Welcome to the best show in the universe, probably. Episode 4, I think this one is.
It is.
Time flies.
It's got the best thumbnail so far.
It does. I like this thumbnail.
I did.
Yeah, whoever
I
you
like that.
hired for your thumbnail art is.
I know, the guy's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Demonetized.
Awesome video, by the way, Platoon. Really enjoyed that one. You said a lot of things that I want to say. So
Yeah, thank you. It's a sure sign that there's next to no story in the film if my video racks up that's less than an hour long. It was just, and that was with a 10-minute introduction. So actually, content-wise, there's probably about 20 minutes of plot discussion in that video because there's just no plot to discuss. But I'm glad it was enjoyable.
I need to give Princess Fiona a wrench. I just
You know, when she asks you for a wrench, she's using a euphemism there.
No.
I do want to start with Mario, but let's introduce our guests now, shall we?
Good plan.
Darkhour. You may have seen him on Drinker's stream. Him and Drinker discussed Last Action Hero, if I'm remembering correctly.
That is correct.
And I checked out your channel, and you make some really good commentary, man. I really enjoyed what I saw. And everyone knows Vex Electronica by this point, I hope. A fantastic streamer, wonderful creator, and last but certainly not least, yes, and Robbie's future ex-wife. Last but certainly not least is Problem Being. I am the Movie Cynic. This is my channel this week, and everyone certainly knows my co-host Little Platoon.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. But yeah, let's transition since a lot of people are here from your Mario. Let's kickstart. Darkhour, you saw Mario, right?
Yes, I did. And I was actually, we were joking a little bit before. I was like, I made a 2-minute video, and I felt I said all the same things that Platoon did. I'm just not as good at stretching them out. So my video was pretty much the exact same thing, but much, much smaller. But yeah, did you want like my opinion or just check?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I can't say anything that Platoon didn't just say like 5 minutes ago in his video, but basically just, I think my title pretty much summed it up. It was a masterclass in wasted potential. There was so many things that they could have done, from the fact that they just flew right through essentially the original game of Donkey Kong, in what amounted to, Fetch Quest 1 or 2, whatever it may have been. And then you just had quite possibly the thing everybody wanted to see in Mario Kart. That's probably the thing everybody wants to see as like its own movie. And they just took it, and it was just not even a chase sequence, really. It was a transportation sequence for the most part. It felt like everything that they did was just crammed in just to get it in there on the off chance that this was the only movie. That's kind of how I felt.
That's a pretty good possibility, because I remember a couple of months ago not really anticipating like how this movie was going to do. I think last week I said it was probably going to open to like 75 to 80 million, and I meant like the Friday to Sunday portion, and it looks like that's probably accurate. I forgot it opened on Wednesday, so it's made just an ass load of money.
Actually, you're right. It was 75 million on the Friday, on the official opening. Yeah.
That's why I love box office analysis. It's fun. But I'm a Mario fan. If anyone watched the stream last week, like I was really excited about it, really nervous for it too, because I wanted it to be good. And I remember leaving the theater, and it was almost like I wanted to do with Platoon, like, all right, who goes first? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Like, how did you feel about it? And we really did feel like the exact same way. It was, I was really disappointed. It was as mid as it gets. And I didn't even have a high bar for it. I was hoping, I even said last week on the stream, I was like, I hope it's at least, Sonic movie level quality. I'll take Pokemon movie level quality. And it didn't do the things that just prop those movies up and raise them up a little bit, which was just, it seemed like they were fucking terrified of turning Mario into a character. Beyond like, I love my brother, and then that was pretty much it.
That was a better Mario voice than Chris Pratt managed in the entire film.
Thanks there. Probably, have you caught that movie yet?
I haven't. I have to admit that even as a kid, and I know this is a very, very old franchise, even I will remember its inception. It's something I've never been into. I've never even played Super Mario. People are asking, why is he here? I don't know. I think I know through osmosis, everything I need to know about him, and the mushrooms and the jumping and the princess and all these things. So I'm a cultural
Philistine.
non-entity when it comes to yes, basically. I'm a terrible human being. But I might watch it just to see, because I did enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog, and I have only ever played that game once in my life, but I really like the film. So, I mean, what you said now just kind of makes me sort of think twice about it, so I'm not sure.
Well, that's because Sonic
Sell it to me, guys. Sell it to me.
Sonic did what all the defenders of this film insist you don't need to do, which is basic characterization, plot, and story work. And, okay, we're adapting a video game for the screen, but it can't just be, hey, remember the rings? Remember running? That's all you need in a film, because kids will like it. Kids don't demand stories. No, Sonic's reasonably well respected and well enjoyed, and has lingered in some people's memories because it actually sought to do something with the property it was adapting, rather than simply just stick it on the screen and hope for the best. But in the chat and in my video, there's so many different examples being brought up. Incredibles is a really good example. Puss in Boots, a fantastic example. Shrek, brilliant animated films, nominally made for kids, but kids don't take themselves to the cinema. Kids go with a family to the cinema. What you're really looking for is a family film. Those are the ones that people actually remember. And when they grow up, they remember them fondly because they remember the story that's being told and they liked the characters. As a kid, you don't really appreciate everything that's being done, but you are aware of a basic distinction between something which is telling you a story and something which is just designed to make you laugh, partly because you're aware of it yourself and partly because your parents are definitely aware of that kind of thing, and they'll be talking about it with you as you go back from the cinema in days to come, which means that in 6 months' time you'll remember it, in a year's time you'll remember it, in 20 years' time you'll remember going back and you say, oh yeah, I remember going to see Shrek at the cinema. I do not believe anyone will be doing this for the Mario film inside 6 months. If it's remembered by Christmas, it'll have done quite well.
Yes, but most importantly, is it diverse? Does it have a drag queen in it? I mean, these are the important questions.
Robbie, I'm really glad you're back in the group, bro. I see where your priorities lie.
They haven't gotten to that point yet with the drag queens, so I think you're.
The thing with Sonic as well was like with the Mario movie. It's all it truly is all about the references, and it's those are typically like icing on the cake kind of deals. Like it's not supposed to be the actual substance. And with Sonic, I remember they took their time even between the first and second movie. During the second movie, it was almost subtle. Like there was a point where they basically introduced the Sonic the Hedgehog game level, and it made sense and it really clicked about halfway through. You're like, oh, cool. This is so cool. They're doing this. And it felt very earned. And it started with the first movie. Like I remember him seeing, for example, like there was this giant ball of rubber bands, and it kind of reminded you of like one of the boulders that would chase him down in one of the levels. And then in the next movie, you actually had that happen, and it brought it forward. And like I said, it was very earned. Whereas in this one, it kind of was the entire point. And I can't emphasize enough how it seems like Nintendo is just terrified of making Mario a real character with a personality, because then they have to, it's almost like they understand they have to commit to it. Whereas I feel like Sega with the Sonic character are a little more like, they're also protective of their property for sure, but all the same, they're willing to take risks. If you go back in Sonic's history, he's had some wild, like weird out of nowhere stories, whether it's in comic books or weird anime adaptations. Like there's a Sonic the Hedgehog anime where he's like flipping people off and stuff. So it's super ballsy moves. But I'm not blaming Nintendo for like not wanting to go that far with Mario, but it's like they understand that it was going to be a hit, and so this is the Mario people will remember. So they didn't want to commit to anything. It was like the definition of playing it safe.
Vex, I don't think we've got your take on this film.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm
Oh,
probably going to
no.
go see it tomorrow. But I mean, everything that you guys are saying is kind of more or less what I expected from a Mario film. Like just looking at the trailers, you don't see like there's much of a plot. You can already see that there's a ton of references. It's very colorful. I didn't expect it to be much of anything. At best, I figure it was just going to be full of references because literally everyone has played a Mario game at some point. The IP is like 50 years old at this point.
Nope.
So
What? 4 out of 5 people have played a Mario game.
Yeah. I'm going to bring on our 5th guest and 6th member of the panel, Mr. Mega Geek himself. He's on mute, but hopefully not when I pull him.
Hello.
Let him on.
Hello.
I know. Sorry, mate. Never mind. Could be worse. Could have Will on, mate. Tell you that, but I think bloody hell you
I know.
How's everyone? Okay.
The suffering.
we're doing good. How about you?
Grand.
Hey, Sexy Vex is here. Oi.
I'm wearing a Clinton shirt though today, so I
Oh
don't know.
God, no! Oh God, no! Oh God, no!
Oh
Not
my god.
good.
Lock her up. Lock her up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on. To be fair, it's a meme shirt.
Uh huh. All right,
Lock her up.
we'll let you on.
It gives a brand new definition to the phrase suicide belt, doesn't it?
What you guys talking about? What you guys talking about?
We're talking about Mario.
Mario.
Have you had a chance to see it yet?
I have seen it.
What did you
Thoughts?
Do you know what? It was okay. I took the kids, and the kids were like, they really loved it. And to tell you the truth, I fell asleep halfway through it. So, but what I saw was all right. I mean, didn't have a story or anything, did it? It just kept moving,
No.
going and going, and it was very colourful. I like the penguins bit in the beginning when the penguins come out and throw snowballs. Well, that was quite fun, but it was all right. Sorry, that's all I can tell you about it. Really.
No, I get it.
Not
There's,
much.
I was really surprised Platoon was able to stretch out a 45-minute video out of that.
I actually watched that. I actually watched it to remind myself what I watched. But yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
No, it really was. It was like a better looking version of any Mario game that you just couldn't play.
Yeah.
It really felt that way. And I really thought there was just such a low bar. Like the best things to compare it to were the recent ones. Nintendo's first adaptation of Pokemon, Detective Pikachu, and the recent Sonic movies. And I was like, oh, they can totally crush this with a Mario movie. And I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, like, oh, I wonder what kind of story they're going to do. It'll be cool to see Mario become a character and how they're going to navigate, like I said, the thing where like you still have to have Mario be Mario as far as
Did you
what
hear
people
about?
know.
But did you hear about? I saw it on Midnight's Edge. Was it Midnight's Edge? I can't remember. Did you hear about the actual guy that created it was really upset with the script when he was handed the script because Princess Peaches was like the lead character, and Mario Brothers were, like a co-star in their own movie, and he told them to change it. Did you hear about that?
No.
And they changed it. They had to change it because he will not allow the film to go any further if they didn't change the script.
Well, if that was their answer for Luigi to be not sidelined in the movie, I want to see what the original script looked like because
Good God.
Yeah, so,
It was everyone. in the
so that's what I
original
was saying. So the original script was Princess Peach was the lead, and she was doing all the stuff that Mario's meant to do, and he got really upset with the script. He was like, no, I want Mario to be the hero. And so I think one report said some of the stuff from the original script got left in there, but majority of it was changed to focus on Mario.
I can believe
So
that. I
there
mean,
you
they're very protective of the property anyway, but also that there are many good things to be said about Japan and the Japanese. But one of them is that they don't tend to go in for the kind of traits that Western cinema goes in for these days, with the sort of the insistence on quote unquote woke storylines and feminizing narratives and putting girls front and center of absolutely everything. So if true, then it's believable. It's in character. It's just a shame though that in nixing that problem before it became a problem, they still didn't turn out anything that was kind of good in its own right. This is the annoying thing about critics who say, well, about YouTubers who say that critics only hate the film because it's not woke enough for them. It's like, no, it not being woke is a good first step, but that's just saying that it's not shit in this particular way. You have to do something more to actually make it a good film. It's not enough just to say, well, all the people I hate don't like this film, therefore it's good. That's an incredibly deracinated way of viewing media. Mario doesn't have that sort of Peach front and center problem. There's a little bit of it left in there, and Peach does have a lot more agency than we're used to seeing from her in the games, and Luigi takes her traditional role. There are games in which Luigi is imprisoned.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
But they are relatively few and far between, and they're not usually what people associate with the character, and that's not usually the way Mario games tend to play out. But they also, as I said in the video, in imprisoning him, they just took that as an opportunity to write him out of the script, so they didn't have to spend any time with his character, which makes his return at the end seem kind of like it's paying off nothing. Well, we were told in one line that he and Mario can never fail when they're together. Okay, payoff for that line right at the end. Hooray, that's a great investment that I've just made in this 90-minute film. Glad I saw that. Don't remember it 5 minutes later. It's a shame. The other comparison, I know we've mentioned Sonic and
Sonic was good.
Sonic was good, and also the Pokemon movie, which I haven't seen, Detective Pikachu. But another good example, I think, is probably Dungeons and Dragons, because when that came out, and I thought, this is so safe and so unambitious. It's like the most mid version of a story you can imagine being put on the screen. And then Mario comes out and does it even worse. And compared to Mario, Dungeons and Dragons is an established IP. It's got a huge amount of lore behind it. There's a dedicated fan base, people who want to see all of this stuff on the screen. Dungeons and Dragons did way more character work than Mario did. And so I'm going to have to revise my opinion of that film upwards, I think, because at the very least it gave all of its cast a little basic 3-act structure that they could all go through. There's proper character development that comes through. It's much more feelingly written than Mario is, and it does try and tell a basic story. So, yeah, it's not just... It's annoying when people say all we needed to do was to put this stuff on the screen because gamers will like it and it'll get bums on seats. Fine, but then it's not even as memorable a story as Dungeons and Dragons, which wasn't a memorable story anyway. So what are you expecting to get in the long run?
Well, it's again, you're right on every count, and I hate to admit that, but the thing's for kids, right? And it's for really, really young kids. I thought this film was for really young kids. It wasn't even registering on the adult Richter scale. Like the Minions, they have jokes in it for adults. When you watch the Minions, because it's made by the same company, they have little jokes that the adults can laugh at and stuff, but the kids don't get. But with this film, it didn't have, it had some, but it really very little of that. It was just aimed for the tiny kids, wasn't it?
I think, in terms of story, it definitely was. But then half the references that it includes are to games that a lot of kids these days won't ever have played. So I'm not even sure it was particularly sure what its target audience was. It's told a story for kids using references that kids won't understand. The majority of my theatre screening when I went to see it was probably over the age of 30.
Same.
And so the people who would actually
That's
recognize...
what most people I hear are saying is all adults. Yeah.
Well, over in England.
Well, they're just like it's bending over backwards in any possible way to defend the movie for some reason. Like, well, it's made for kids. Well, guess what? Like you said earlier, well, who brings kids to movies? Who pays for them? And
I do.
From my personal experience, everyone in my theater was an adult. So,
really? Wow. What showing did you go to? If it's the morning one.
You went to a midnight one, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
That might explain why there weren't that many kids in the audience. But
that's I forgot. I did go to a midnight one. Never mind. Well, what's funny is the people behind me were acting like children of all things. So one could have been confused. But
it's very colorful.
It was really pretty. And what's funny is Altiari, one of our guests from a couple of days ago, one of my favorite people. I mentioned that it was mid, and she was like, "Oh, so it was like John Wick 4."
No.
And I was like, "Hey, I understand this like comparison, even though they're not even remotely the same style of movie, but all the same, like." John Wick at least brought something new to the table in some atmosphere. Like I can even give credit to Avatar 2 for that, where it's, you know, like you would say, Mega, about the technology it brought, and with John Wick, like the action scenes, like at least it's something new. And I would never even say that part 4 is like as good as the first movie. The first movie in that franchise is the best, and at least they established John as a fucking character. And like that's something that they couldn't even wrap their heads around when it comes to Mario whatsoever. Was
they didn't have any character structure with either of them, really. Let's face it.
No, and I really hate, like, you touched on it in your review, Platoon, about I had like a come to Jesus moment, and it had to be over the Mario movie when it comes to like film critique and what I do. And I had never been happier that at the very least, like whether you like my opinions on things or not, when I post a review, it's honestly what I think. And when I started seeing the things of like, woke critics hate Mario and like, oh, this is destroying Disney and they're pissed. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? Like, I could concoct a headline where if the movie didn't do well, the headlines for that kind of shit would be woke Mario movie crashes and burns because they made Peach a girl boss. Like, you can already understand where it would go either way for like a headline grabbing fucking attention seeking thing. And it's just like it made sure for me that I'm just reinforce my position that there's a reason why I only release like a couple of videos a month. And it's because I want you to hear my authentic opinion on something that I'm interested in, whether it's good or bad. And I'll give it my all to make sure that you get it. And like, I hate to, I'm not even going to use the word.
I think both of you do, though. I think Ben and you give your personal opinion on it. I mean that's great, but sometimes, right? Seriously, sometimes movies can be so bad that it's just all right. Do you know what I mean? This
like the
bad. Well,
that's why I said it was mid. Like it's not bad.
Course.
It's just not very good.
Yeah.
You know?
That was also Mario's basic pitch, is that we're not even going to try and do anything with the story, so we can't possibly do anything wrong with it. So there's not a huge amount wrong with the film. Sure, that's because the film doesn't do anything. And so, it can't really be worse than mid, properly, well, selectively defined anyway.
Yeah.
But it does come back to that point of, what do they want this film to actually achieve in the long run? They clearly don't want it to be something that really sticks in anybody's mind. They clearly do just want it to make a quick buck. But there's also been lots of talk of these other potential follow-up films that are coming down the line. They want to do more Nintendo-based films, and so this is the whole reason I did that section on the NCU in my video, which is that... Yeah, there's half the voice actors have said they want to come back and do more, and I think the plan is that they're going to release about... the numbers have dropped out of my mind. I think it's about 5 of them over the next 2-3 years. I might have got that completely wrong, but I know there are plans for more. And so what are they trying to do then? Do they have some cohesive idea in mind for creating this overlapping Nintendo cinematic universe? If so, this is a terrible start for that, because you've burned through loads of story potential without actually telling a story that could kick the thing off. It's like the anti-Iron Man. So are we going to see a Zelda film in 2 years' time, which is just the same thing? And why should people be especially bothered by that? Won't this wear off more quickly than if they'd bothered to tell a story? I can still go back and watch Iron Man and enjoy the film, even though I hate what the MCU has done in Phase 4 and so far in Phase 5. I don't think we can say the same of Mario. There is only so many times you can say, look, we've seen all of these things before the audience gets bored of that. We've seen all the references. Great, okay, great. But where are you going with this? Why should I be watching it?
It is possible that the script was damaged so much that they did a big rush on trying to make it like what you see now, but wasn't enough. Maybe the script was undeveloped because of the interference with the original script, how they put Princess Peaches as the lead and stuff like that. So it is possible, before it came to the deadline of actually going into production, that's what they ended up with. And they just kept trying to rewrite the script to try and correct stuff and stuff like that. And that's what it ended up as. Do you know what I mean? It is possible that happened, but I can't ignore the fact that it wasn't a very good film. it was okay, but that's about it, really. So
All it made me do was I instantly booted up Super Mario Odyssey on my Switch, and I was like, "This is
Okay.
Mario. This is the shit."
Maybe
right here," 'cause
that's the goal, though, to get you to play the games a little bit more.
And hey, that's fine. Like I get if that's their goal. But if you're driving me towards a product that's actually good, then that's cool with me. Like I want to consume stuff as a consumer. I just want to consume good stuff. And so I went and booted up Mario Odyssey, and that shit is fun.
Well,
Because
why are they trying to copy Marvel though? Because even the beginning, when the Nintendo sign comes out, it kind of reminds me of the Marvel sign. And why is everybody so obsessed with making a universe?
Money.
Let's do it. I know it's money, but still, what they should do is make one film, see how it performs, and then decide whether they want to make another film. And if they complete 3 successful movies, that's when they should start thinking about a universe, right? Because they know they've got the audience locked in. But to start off with the first one and based on the games and stuff like that, that's no guarantee of anything, really. We're talking about movies here. We're not talking about games. That's the thing. You know how many movie games failed? So
that's not
A
how they
lot.
work with big studios, though. They
I
want to have their plan out for X number of movies over X number of years before they even greenlight the first one.
That's what I'm thinking too. It's you build a universe and then you got content for at least a decade. Because they're creatively bankrupt is the other thing too, right?
Yeah. There's still going to be the movies that kind of do it organically, like John Wick, like was mentioned before. It organically turned into multiple movies.
Yeah.
But most of them now are by design for that to have, and just by choosing this, Nintendo knows, like, I wouldn't be shocked if their end goal is to have a Super Smash Brothers movie, which would be weird because most of the series that those come from have nothing to do with each other. Like Donkey Kong, Mario, Yoshi, those characters are all in the same universe. But like Super Smash Brothers is literally like originally a toy box full of toys that a hand is playing with, and that hand is the villain.
Yeah.
So
that
it's
would be your Avengers movie then, basically.
Yeah, that would be your Avengers movie, but it's like such a weird concept because now you then would acknowledge that these movies are not even actually happening. That it was like
sorry, one sec. Did you guys enjoy Wreck-It Ralph?
I never saw Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I never saw Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph was really good, right? And that's how this film should have been. Seriously, Wreck-It Ralph reminded me of the Mario Brothers when I watched it, and I was expecting it to be something like that, but it wasn't, because Wreck-It Ralph has a lot of heart and stuff in it. So I don't know. Sorry to interrupt.
On the Smash Brothers point,
being a problem now.
It's a problem.
The problem being he has a terrible router, apparently. On the Smash Brothers point, though, in the course of doing the video, because I was finding like game cutscenes to fill in the gap, and still didn't manage to escape Universal's copyright bot. But nevertheless, lots of game cutscenes. If you go to Smash Brothers Brawl in particular, but even is it Smash Brothers Ultimate's the most recent one?
Yes.
I think that they move away from that sort of toy box idea with the hand being the master hand that you sort of beat your own master. They do actually start creating this sort of in-universe or universe-spanning storyline, and in Brawl in particular, not without some success. I don't remember the Ultimate one quite so much, but Brawl actually gives you a basic roadmap for how you create this kind of shared universe in the Avengers mold. All of these characters belong in the world they're depicting. They cross them over pretty well. The villains play villainous roles. You've got Bowser and Ganondorf who are together, but I think they're serving a sort of a darker master. And, it actually has some surprisingly effective narrative beats in it. You've got the sort of the reveal of Rob, who's disguised as one of the villains and almost gets himself killed in a bit to save the heroes. You have the epic charge at the main battleship on Meta Knight's ship, which gets destroyed, but then all the heroes fly out of it. Kirby, Star Fox, all the flying ones. And, it's simple stuff, but it's actually story-based, and it's not a terrible story. So you can move away from the idea of the Melee original or the N64 Smash Brothers, which is that it is just a toy box being smashed together, towards something which is much more story-driven. And that's basically your model for your Avengers crossover, so you don't have to overtly play on the Avengers to create this cinematic universe. Smash Brothers does actually give you some kind of roadmap for how to achieve that. But unfortunately, the Super Mario film has already started cutting into that. We've already got a bit of a Smash Brothers film in Super Mario because we've got the Smash Brothers sequences with DK and then later with Bowser at the end of the film. So what are they're not really saving up very much for a big reveal like the Avengers, I don't think.
Question. Okay, so the way that they've cut this movie together then, is it meant to just give you a trickle of all these little things that then they can create a universe off of?
I think so. I don't know.
It's not done particularly well for that, though.
Is that
unfortunately.
possibility there, though? Because that would
It's-
explain why they've gone through so much material then.
It seems like, I don't know, it could go either way. Like, it seems like they did all these references just in case it doesn't do well, but it seems like the budget was low enough where there was no way that it was going to bomb, at least. And just like Chado said last week, like they were riding on this because their theme park is really counting on, like
I was
keeping
going to
Mario
say,
in
like,
the public
Universal has
zeitgeist.
dumped millions of dollars into adding the Mario World stuff.
Right.
So
And all the same, it does seem like they just dropped in the references, and it was just like every 5 minutes will be a sequence of reference X, and X is reference Y, and so on and so forth. And what's funny too is like they already like blew their load with the Super Smash Bros thing by having him fight DK, when in reality you could have just had if you were going to do reference after reference, they missed it where you could have had the original Donkey Kong and had that be the whole sequence with him and
I still
DK.
think DK should have been the villain in this film. I mean,
Yeah,
they would have
well-
been much more closely hoving to the legacy of Mario. And that
So
they were
saving,
the
like,
original.
saving
Yeah.
Bowser for later.
Yeah, save Bowser for later, introduce him in this post-credits thing if you want to, make him sort of tease him as a bigger villain for later. But, the original Mario was in a DK game. They are the original enemies. That would allow you to, like, halve your character roster and do double the character work on the people you use. And then, you can even have them find some kind of peace at the end. So then you've got DK introduced as an antagonistic but nevertheless allied character for future films. Kind of Iron Man, Captain America kind of vibe going on. They don't like each other, but they work together, and you've got that potential. The problem with what they've done is that whereas in the Avengers, before you get them all teaming up to together, you've got individual character films. So by the time they meet each other, you don't need to do many character introductions at all because you've already done those. By doing what the Super Mario film has done, you've basically got DK and Mario and God knows however many other characters you've got already established in universe, but without any character work being done, which means any future film in which they star will probably assume they don't need to do any character work because the characters already exist. So who are we investing in? Because none of these people are actually people. They are just cultural properties put on the screen for you. So that's another aspect of potential they've burned through.
What you're saying is they've done a DC then. They've rushed it.
Yes, exactly.
You could have said that.
I did say that. But I said it in my video. I'm in the weird position of having to try and reword stuff I said like 40 minutes ago.
You know, I'm only
To
kidding.
to be fair, you're doing a very good job of
Yeah.
it.
Yes,
So
exactly. Yes.
You know
I
what
just
this-
put, on my video. I just put a graphic up. I was just like,
DC.
I was-
the response to this movie reminds me of The Force Awakens, and how everyone's just like, it's the best ever. And I feel like in a few years,
that bad,
people will
really.
chill out on it.
Yeah.
And
I can
and-
see where you're coming from with that, though. That's definitely like like caught in the moment, prisoner of the moment kind of thing. Where I think the people who think it's the worst thing in the world will come more toward the center of being like, it wasn't terrible, and then the people who thought it was amazing will come more to the center and be like, it wasn't as great as I thought. So it'll
Yeah,
end up being
I
more
mean,
averaged out.
I don't even know anyone who thinks it's terrible. Like, we're sitting here and critiquing it, but like literally middle of the road. It's a safe bet. That's what it was to me. It definitely wasn't horrible by any stretch of the imagination. So it's just the definition of safe. Did
anyone have the same problem as me where it just felt way longer than 90 minutes?
Yeah,
Like,
I did.
I
fell
felt
asleep.
I felt like I was sitting there for like significantly longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah. I didn't even sit through the credits. I was ready to go.
Well, they've got a thing at the ending with Jack Black, haven't they?
I didn't give a
And
shit. I just
they've got
got up
another
and
one
left.
after that one, which is what teases Yoshi's introduction.
Yeah.
But that's the post credits as opposed to the mid credit sequence. There were 3 other people in my cinema by the time we got to that. No, half of them left before the mid credit sequence, and all but 3 other people, not including myself, had left by the post credit sequence. So, and I, as I said in the video, I can't help but think that's kind of indicative about how engaged people were with it. Because if you imagine, go back to the MCU's Phase 1, which really establishes the importance of these mid and post-credit sequences, people would stay because they were expecting them and because they wanted to find out what happened next. Even pretty shit Marvel films like Iron Man 3, people would sit through and stay to the end because they want to see what the post-credit sequence is setting up. Whereas with this one, the fact everyone just disappears kind of suggests that no one was really that invested in what they were watching beyond surface level enjoyment.
I'm really surprised how they haven't really looked at what Marvel did and try and imitate that, because all they're doing is rushing. Like, for instance, as Ben says, right, the Marvel did it right. They created Iron Man, and then they created another hero, and he had his own individual film, so you can get to know that person. And they did it with all the heroes, and then they combined them with the Avengers movie. So why didn't Mario do this? Why didn't they have Donkey Kong in his own movie, even though he's part of the same computer game and the other characters are part, and then create an Avengers type thing? Because that's the right way to do it, right? Even in the comics, they did that, right? So I still don't understand why they want to do a DC and rush towards just forget about all the intricacies and just rush to money.
It might not be they're rushing in the DC way, because from what you guys are describing to me, it sounds like this is TikTok but a Mario movie, essentially. When you think the attention span, right? But I was telling these guys earlier before the show is what the director had come out and said that kind of the script and the way the film is shot is meant to be an homage to speedrunners of Mario. So I don't know how much influence that might have had in the way it was put together as well.
I don't know. Well,
I'd rather be talking about the other Nintendo movie, Tetris.
Oh, that was fantastic.
That was great.
Goodness.
Oh, I love
Beautiful
that film.
movie. If you want a good Nintendo movie, go watch that.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. But, remember the other Mario Brothers film with Bob Hoskins?
I certainly remember that one.
I don't think it's possible to forget that one.
Well, there you go.
Burned into my retina.
That is the room of video game movies for sure. Tommy
Terrible
Wiseau
movie.
level.
Terrible movie. It came out at the same time as Jurassic Park, didn't it?
Really?
Holy God, it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because I remember I took my nephews to see Mario Brothers, and then we went across the road to see Jurassic Park. We saw it in the same day, so it was quite.
That explains why Jurassic Park was such a abject failure then, because it came out at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the multi-billion-dollar success of the first Mario movie. That didn't happen.
I just want to let everyone know in the chat too. I have all your super chats. Just a reminder, we do them near the end of the show so that we can give as much attention to them as possible. So I see you. I appreciate you. Love you guys. We'll get to them. I swear.
They'll all be asleep before you get to them.
Well, it just entices them to have to stick around, doesn't it? You gotta watch
Just
the whole
like the
It
end
just
credits.
proves he doesn't care. He just wants the money.
You got to stick around for the whole show. You got to listen to it.
You can compensate for the fact that Universal denied me the opportunity to get any in my video. I didn't realize this because I had to dispute. Universal are a shit
They're
studio
awful.
to do any videos for. But immediately, copyright claims to dispute those. Rejected dispute within 5 minutes. So they've gone straight to the appeal, which gives them 7 days.
Off
But
what
while it's in
footage?
dispute, it was 10 seconds of trailer. And that 10 seconds was depicting the scene I was talking about in the context of the review. So I did say in the appeal, if you actually uphold this, and basically what you're saying is that movie reviews as a genre don't belong on YouTube, so maybe think about that.
I think trailers should be fair game. I think at this point, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that what is ostensibly an advertisement should be copyright controlled in this manner. It's outrageous.
I mean,
It's
It's just that
stupid.
they completely take advantage of the system that YouTube has set up. And what they do is they know what they're doing. It's completely illegal, but you can't do anything about it. All you can do is dispute it. And what they want to do is 99.9% of the time they'll release it. But when they don't, 99% of the time you will win if it goes all the way. Like, it has to go all the way. But because of that very, very small percentage chance that you will lose, most people don't want to do it because it'll have a strike on your channel. It'll negatively impact your channel. So, and they rely on that. They count
That's
on
corporate
that. They count on you.
collusion.
Yes, they count on you being afraid to do it. And when you fight back, you can write a message to them too. Platoon did it with a Lord of the Rings or a Rings of Power video, and the same thing happened to one of mine. And I basically said verbatim what you said to them, which was like, this is fair use. Stop wasting my fucking time. And they released it like 2 hours later.
But they're recognizing YouTube critics now, because I was on a stream with Will, Drinker last night, and I said,
Will,
congratulations, congratulations with who's that guy interviewed? That big star interviewed, Russell Crowe. So congratulations, and he said that the people that were running that interview for the movie he was in, one of the guys was a big fan of Drinker, so he suggested that Drinker interviews him in when he's just sitting there and people are coming in and stuff like that to interview him in the hotel room. So they did it. So they are recognizing the power of YouTube and people that criticize movies. So you never know, Little Platoon, you might get a call from, I don't know, Steven Spielberg.
Well,
his latest film.
That's it's unironically how I got the job writing for Judas, is because Ken Levine was watching my Rings of Power videos and thought, that's okay, we need someone to tell us if we're shit. And so I said, I can do that job. So then, video game writing. YouTube is a big, growing and growing in its significance, but that does unfortunately mean that you're empowering companies like Universal much more, because YouTube has to become much more risk averse. The bigger the viewership, the more financial stake these companies have, the more those companies are very, very interested in ensuring they don't get bad or negative coverage. And then the other thing, of course, is that in Universal's case, if they make the appeal and I don't appeal the appeal, then they get all the money that would otherwise go to me. So they will make money from just by disputing it and relying on me not being a stubborn asshole and taking it all the way to an appeal, which I've naturally done. And the question, will they lose money as a consequence of my videos? Well, not because I used the clip, but maybe they'll lose money because of what I said about your film. But that's something
well, maybe,
else.
Maybe you need more...
Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe you need... Sorry, I was just going to say, maybe you need more bigger YouTubers to call out these studios when they strike these videos, and to say, well, this is happening and this should impact on how you see this film, because if they're going to behave like this, it means they have no confidence in their product.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Every studio has to go through the establishment, and any one of those establishments can say their film is bad. So there's really kind of, if you make a decent film and you get one bad review, there's really no risk going to the YouTubers believing in your film. If they give you a bad review, it's not really going to impact on it that much, unless the film is really bad and everybody's saying it's really bad. Do you know what I mean? So but I'm telling you, right, this is where it's all going. These studios are going to flood YouTube, and they're going to be asking people that got thousands of watching them to review their stuff. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
better than IGN, where about 5 people read your article. So what's the point in the puff piece?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I think is going to happen. Anyway, carry on. Carry on. What are we reviewing now?
Well, next up is stuff that, unless anyone has another word on Mario, we've been talking about it for over 40 minutes. So
watch Tetris.
I will. I
Tetris.
totally will. Yes, I absolutely want to watch Tetris.
I want to watch it.
I think the last thing is that
good.
if anybody is doubtful or skeptical that Nintendo might be looking to do a cinematic universe, and I think there are probably some skeptics out there, just consider that Nintendo has set up an entire division called Nintendo Pictures, which is designed purely for the purpose of making video games into films. So I'd be very surprised if that wasn't what that department was intended to effectuate.
I will automatically give a Zelda movie praise if someone saw it on Twitter. I think I will automatically give Zelda a praise if the entire movie link just says "yeah" and moves on.
I was actually thinking that. I was thinking that.
I want him to say I'm on a never-ending quest to. I want him to say I'm on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend.
No, he can't. He can't say that. But if he gets hit, he can say. "G," and that's it.
I'm taking my cue from Badly Drawn.
Such a geek.
They could
Mega
make
Geek.
that, because like, Zelda is theoretically one of those where you can get away with doing your sort of female empowerment stuff, because it seems a bit incongruous with Peach, because Peach is not ever really supposed to be a protagonist. But in Zelda, there are plenty of scenarios in different versions of different games where Zelda actually does take a much more active role, and you can play on the Smash Brothers Sheik transformation if you want to, and have her in disguise being a badass girl boss who then is is revealed to be Zelda at the end, but that's forgivable because it makes perfect sense within the context of the game you're adapting and the story you're presumably telling. The problem is when you take Zelda, make her the princess who's not supposed to be anything but a MacGuffin in the plot, and then make her the savior of the entire world. That becomes something else entirely.
Yeah. Darkhour, do you live in a cinema?
I do not. This is just my.
Don't blow the illusion. No.
I could work a projector though. I've actually repaired projectors for years.
Oh really?
So yeah. So if I'm in, there's been times where I've been in a theater and I've seen like something wrong with the projector. I'm like, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to fix it. And whoever I've been with is just like, nah, just sit down. So I
deal with a lot of projectors on YouTube, not YouTube, on Twitter. There's a lot of those. Yeah.
That used to be a quote of mine. Like I would be like, "Hey, I'm a projectionist, and you're projecting, my friend." That was something I used to say a lot to people.
Boosh.
Just flick a switch these days, don't they?
Sort of. It's you don't have to do any like real swapping or splicing or anything.
Yeah.
But it's most of them are laser now, so it's like you don't even need to have somebody on staff that needs to change lamps out.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty ridiculous.
It is.
Cinema
I
with
come
lasers.
from the day when I was in the cinema and people were smoking. You know what I mean? That's how old I am, for God's sakes. You know what I mean?
Damn, smoking in the cinema?
Yeah, man.
That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like so much fun to deal with.
I'm told it's a reliable way of enjoying films like Mario, but if you smoke something before you go in to see the film, then...
Or eat something during.
The mushrooms. Eat the mushrooms.
Oh, actually, that is one thing I want to say. I found that to be a little strange that they decided to make him hate mushrooms. It was probably the only character development he got was that he had to overcome his adverse opinion to mushrooms. So
it's weird as well because it's not even really character development. That was just for a joke.
Yeah, that's
so and it's
which is sad.
You've telegraphed this joke so far in advance that it's not a surprise when the punchline lands. It's not actually funny. There were funny bits in the film. I think the blue shell use in Rainbow Road was really good. But all the verbal jokes it told, particularly that one, were just telegraphed, so no one could possibly miss them. But that makes them much less funny as a result. Mario hates mushrooms. Oh no, he's ended up in Mushroom Kingdom.
Kids, don't take mushrooms. That's what they're trying to say, really, aren't they?
Now that would have been much funnier, definitely. But then, alas.
So next up for topic was all the Star Wars announcements over the weekend.
What? No.
It's
Somehow Ray Palpatine returned.
yeah, it's come back.
I know. Tell me about it.
The best news was the fact that I thought they announced a Rey trilogy, and then someone corrected me and said it's just one movie.
Yep.
To see how it
That was
goes.
that was the best news. Was my mistake.
It's a classic case of, well, it's a really poor example of a studio which is trying to prove that it has some sort of plan for what to do with the franchise. And people have been saying for ages, you either need to go a long way forwards or you need to go a long way backwards. You need to get away from the current timeline and just start again and tell a new cohesive story. And what did Disney say? Well, you can have one film which is part of the sequel trilogy timeline. We'll also do another film which is completely disconnected, which is part of the post-Empire timeline that Dave Filoni's doing. And also we get a film which is going thousands of years back in time to establish the origin of the Jedi. So how is that for a vision? It's so good you can have three of them. It's just they don't link together and we don't actually have a clue what we're doing with any of them.
Question.
What a surprise.
Go on, go for it. Vex.
There was a picture of Rey pregnant on a screen.
That's not real, I don't think.
Is that all? Is that doctored or something?
I think
Because
it's
from
doctored.
what I understand, I haven't seen that new Star Wars trilogy because I don't give a fuck about Star Wars. Okay,
It's
but
just way too early for there to be
It's a
any
ghost
test footage.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
I understand that she kisses Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
at
but you
the end of the
can't
last
get
movie.
pregnant by kissing someone, can?
She's a virgin
Disney.
melee.
Yes, you can.
Oh dear.
It's
The
way
baby
too early for
stalk
there to be any
something.
test footage like that. So that's got to
Yeah,
be done.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what, right? Seriously, it's going to be bad. Look, all these, look, no disrespect, Vex, but all these women, well, I'll watch some of them. It's just women. It's just women all the time.
Bloody
isn't it?
women.
Hey, you know what I mean?
It's okay. I'm a
like-
misogynist too. Don't worry.
No, just saying. There's a black woman directing. There's a woman talking. There's the woman. It's like women bosses. They seem to forget Star Wars is a male thing.
It's a male
boy's
fantasy.
own
Yeah.
boy's own adventure, and yet they want to take.
And that's
that out.
also why women love it. You know,
Yeah,
that's what they
exactly.
want to see. They want to see the same things that guys want to see. They want to see action. They want to see heroes. They want to love the main guy, go floor, and you know, they want to project themselves onto the princess and go, yeah, I can do that shit and kick ass. And that's what Star Wars was about. It was a fun romp that was primarily aimed at kids, young boys, and dads loved it. You know, moms were glad to get them out of the house, and the daughters loved it as well. You know, I mean, it's fun. It was fun, and they've taken the fun and joy out of it. They've made this really grim. Let's face it. I mean, it's so grim. It looks like something from EastEnders, like set 200 years into the future, and it's just really depressing.
It's terrible, isn't it?
But it's
terrible.
also, I mean, what do they expect to happen? So you're trying to reboot Star Wars and just breathe some sort of life back into it. Okay, let's bring back Rey because she's universally popular. Let's have that film directed by someone who did 3 episodes of Ms. Marvel and is otherwise a feminist activist.
2 episodes.
2 episodes. And who was otherwise a feminist activist who co-chaired the World Economic Forum once. It's like,
What?
I don't understand what the thinking
Well, she
is
can write the
behind that.
Empire very well.
Oh, she
You know,
could,
that's-
yeah.
We
That's a
do
good
understand
point.
what's going on here. They're basically tripling down. You know, they're saying, fuck you, everybody. We're still going to go this agenda. We're still going to make this crap. And you have to suck it up. That's what they're saying to us. And you know what, right? You should see the crowd. The crowd were all cheering and, you know, and it was like, oh, they're all happy, whatever. But when you look at the amount of people that watched that live thing, it was only 20K.
Really?
When I was watching it, yeah, when I was watching it, it was only 20K. So I don't know, might have gone up or might have gone down. I don't know. But if it was Star Wars, as in pure Star Wars, I think it'd be a million watching. Do you know what I mean? But this is how much it's not liked. They can bring in the crowd for free. They can make them cheer and stuff like that. But the real truth is that nobody wants this. Absolutely no one. Well,
There's never a guarantee that that's actual authentic cheering either. You know,
Yeah.
it could be
Dumped
paid
on later.
chill cheering, or it could just be pumped in through. I mean, there's they could just there could be digital sound effect cheering. It's really not that hard to do.
Weren't there people doing? I thought there were people doing or something. Holy
Get a
Christ.
third-
why have you two got sunglasses on? What's going
Dude,
on?
these fucking lights
Blind
get
lights.
me, and I'm just really tired today. So, you know,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
free
so
now.
glad. Yes.
Free blind
It's
mice.
like
there you
single
go.
white female, only it's single white drinker.
Oh, God almighty.
Unfortunately, I can't read my notes if I put those on.
Just FYI, my girlfriend's clearly listening from the living
she?
room because she texted me and said, "Fuck all of you with your Mario hate," because she loved the movie.
I didn't mind it. You can tell your girlfriend I didn't mind it at all.
No, I didn't hate
I haven't
the
seen
film.
it yet, so I'm out of this.
It's guilt by association. That's how
Yeah,
this
it's
works.
skill by association for sure.
But on Star Wars thing, I think a lot of it is also it's echo chamber stuff, and it's incredibly cliquey. You know, Kathleen Kennedy, when she comes out and says quality will always be the thing Star Wars prioritizes. Like anyone from the outside says, "Since when?" But she probably believes that. Because everyone within Disney tells her that that's so. And you can see this expressed as well in the fact that of all of these 3 films that have been announced, for most of you, you can tell in all the 3 films that have been announced, you've got Woman Who's Done Ms. Marvel, you've got the director of Indiana Jones and the Dialysis Machine of Decrepitude or whatever that's called.
That's it, yeah.
And you've got, what was the other one? Someone else had done, and you've got Dave Filoni,
Dave
of
Filoni.
course.
Yeah.
So
Cowboy
all of these
Hat
people, the qualifier is, do you toe our line? Yes. And have you worked with us before? Yes. Will you challenge us? No. Okay, you're in. It's a company that's so incredibly hostile to outside ideas, and that goes a long way toward explaining, I think, why the product is so shit, but why they don't seem to realize it, because every single one of their internal conversations is just people telling them all how great they are, and that's it. They don't realize what they're doing.
But Kathleen Kennedy knows that she's fucked up, and she knows that a lot of people don't like her Star Wars film. She's just trying to save face because sooner or later she's got to retire. What is she in her 70s now? So she's going to retire. She just wants to go out with, them saying she was good, I guess. But that's never going to happen. But she's fooling herself, though.
Isn't the rumor mill that they're probably going to let her go by the end of this year?
What? Tied
Kathleen
to
Kennedy.
tied to a rope and cutting the rope and letting her go, you mean? From
Yeah.
a cliff.
I mean,
Pretty
they've been
much.
talking about, I think, weekly since
Yeah.
probably The Last Jedi. She's been on the chopping block. It's but the rumor mill was that if the next movie is not a success and it has to be within 2 years, that she was done. But who knows?
That was,
Last
that was
movie, then?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, that was Indiana Jones. I thought it was the
Yeah.
next Star Wars movie.
No. So the story goes, according to Doomcock, we have to take it with a pinch of salt, that she got called into the office and the boss said to her, if this film Indiana Jones doesn't make any money, you're gone, basically. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's
How
true.
many chances do you bloody need? I mean, for goodness sake, she sunk the company. She sunk Lucasfilm. She's destroyed the reputation of Disney. Well, one of many, I have to say. And she's destroyed Star Wars comprehensively. I mean, you only need to look at the viewings, the ratings, the thumbs downs, all of the rest of it. The banter on Twitter, if anyone's even bothering to talk about it, is all negative.
Yes, but that's because all of
apart from
those
the
people are
fans.
racist. So it's not actually true fans who are saying that.
to say that.
I was speaking from privilege. I apologise.
Kathleen Kennedy, I guess, is just more proof that women should stay in the kitchen. Essentially.
Oh no! Don't say that.
I'm gonna say it because every time you put a woman at the top of anything, I'm gonna fucking say it. They
Make
ruin
a
everything.
mean sandwich.
They
They
belong on
don't
Christmas
do anything
trees.
right.
That's it.
The
I'm not
problem
marrying
with
you, Vex.
the problem with the sandwich made by Kathleen Kennedy is there's absolutely no continuity between the bread and what's between it. So
That is
it probably wouldn't be that good. But did
But
they
you know,
Just
actually
get rid of the women. Just get rid of the women.
You know,
They're
the
too
truth-
emotional. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. All they want to do is talk about period products.
They are just there to be easy on the eyes for you. That's
But she's
all
not
they're
even
there
easy on the
for.
eyes.
Come
She
on,
looks like a
no.
bridge
Gillian
troll.
Mulvaney
That neck, bro.
also does period
Oh
products.
no, he's got an about a neck.
I'm sorry, I know.
He's got a thing about necks.
It fucking freaks me out, man. It looks like a Tyrannosaurus neck. It looks like a fucking alligator neck. It's weird.
Dear, oh dear.
Lizard woman.
Oh God Almighty.
Did they actually? So anybody who actually, because I did not watch anything for the celebration, so I was not part of the 20K people who are watching. Apparently, did they actually say the order of which the directors are going to, or was it just a blanket statement? One is for this one is for this one.
I only watched a bit. I can't tell you.
I only read the synopsis. I didn't really. I wasn't giving them a view.
But you know, the truth is stranger. You know, like for instance, right? We don't really know what happened with the trilogy. We don't know. I suspect JJ had a really good script and it got dumbed down by KK. I think JJ had the right intentions for Star Wars. You can see there were like things in the Force Awakens, but you can tell it was interfered with and stuff like that. Sometimes, like for instance, give an example, right? You know, the Bourne Identity. Okay, it was such a huge hit, and it actually turned the spy thing upside down. And it was quite fresh with the spy thing. Do you know that was a disaster being made?
Really?
Did you know that was the director didn't know what he was doing? He'd come on set and he didn't even have a storyboard, even a shot list. And people were just standing around. And he'll go,
Wow.
"Oh, can we do this?" And they're like, "What are you fucking talking about? It takes an hour to light this." Do you know what I mean? That is the true story behind the Bourne Identity, right? And it was the guy didn't know what he was doing so much that they had to call in Frank Marshall because Frank Marshall wasn't involved with the movie. So they dragged Frank Marshall in to actually make sure the film was moving. Okay. And that's why he didn't get the second one, because everybody hated him. See, that's a story that I think it was told somewhere. But that's what I'm saying.
It sounds
the
a
truth
lot-
is stranger.
It sounds a lot
Stranger.
like Solo, because when I was on that shoot, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They spent a week doing a single shot. I'm not kidding. It was a whole week on a single frame shot, right? Not a moving shot, not a crane shot. It was just over and over and over again for the whole week, and that was just one shot. It went on like that for ages, and I can tell you that chaos. No, fair dues to KK. She had to make a call somewhere along the line. She knew this wasn't going the way it was meant to be going, and she got shot of them. But it was chaos, because they just thought, I don't know, that extras were like animation cells that could just do everything all the time without breaks. And it was very much like that. It was very, very intense and very, very boring and very, very slow. And they were winging it. And I'm not kidding. They were making things up, changes on the spot. They were getting the actors to ad lib constantly. It was a hell of a nightmare. So yeah, I mean,
believe it as well.
that happened. That happened.
So
It
it's
lost
very
money.
difficult to write. Is it like when you're talking about the Mario script? It's very difficult to write something because if you're on it for a very long time, you just can't see the wood from the trees. And sometimes you change something and you don't realize halfway down the script that it affects something else. But when you're under pressure from the studio, that's why scripts are so bad. The studio should leave well alone, let the people create and just write the script as best they can. And instead of interfering, because that's what spoils the whole thing. When people, you know what, you got execs think they're creative and they turn up and they think they're creative, but they're not. They haven't got a creative bone in their body. But yet, if you tell them, you're fired. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of problem that's one of the problems.
Has there ever been a
film.
movie that you can think of at least where like there's known studio interference and someone was like, thank God they came down and did this and made this change because this movie is all the better for it.
It was Born Identity. Frank Marshall. He was just taking too long to shoot stuff. They had to call Frank Marshall. Frank Marshall was not involved with the film. Halfway through the film, they said, we've got to get someone to sort these. We've got to get someone to. And there's a rumor that Frank Marshall shouted at the director and he started crying on the set. He literally started crying on the set and ran off. So do you know what I mean? So I guess studio interference made that film work because everything that happened in that film was an accident. And then
Bloody
suddenly we're looking at
men.
the film going, this is genius. We're looking at the film going, this is genius. It makes the spy thing even better than Bond and stuff like that. So it does happen. I guess that's one example. I'm pretty
There
sure
was
there's
studio
more.
interference on the costume for the Predator,
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, yes.
which not only saved that movie, made multiple movies and comics and stuff after that. So
Let me clarify my question then. Writing specifically, not
that.
changing of director or like that's a brilliant decision. Yeah, with the Predator, absolutely.
Just before you answer that question, I'm going to bring on I've lost count of guests now, but a sixth guest. Okay, we can welcome Weekend Warrior to the stream. Hello, sir.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi. This is the first time I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say good to meet. I was going to say good to meet you because we've chatted on Twitter in the weird intervening sections between the times you get banned. But yeah, first time.
What have you?
How
been
are you
doing?
doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I think there was a time difference, but I miscalculated, so here I am. So I'm sorry for being a bit late. So
Well,
I'm
here now.
sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, better late than never. We do drop in, drop out anyway, so like people, if they get bored, can just piss off, basically. But yeah, we're talking. We've done Mario. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I have not. I want to see it. So
Thank God.
yeah.
just watch
So was it
Platoon's
bad?
video on it. It'll sum up everything for you. Save you.
Oh, you
save you,
didn't like
save you
it?
some money
Oh.
too.
Yeah, there were bits to like about it.
There were
maybe
good-
some of them,
Okay.
not a huge number, but some
Just
of them
a
were
little.
there. But we're now doing Star Wars because obviously there's been the Star Wars Celebration stuff, all the announcements that have come out. Have you been following any of that?
I just heard that Rey was gonna come back, and I saw the obviously photoshopped picture of Rey being
Pregnant
pregnant.
Rey.
Okay.
Yeah, pregnant Rey.
It's very
Like,
convincing.
Yeah, somehow.
Very
Rey-
good. Yeah, that's. I
Rey-
thought it was real too.
Vex feels
Somehow-
attacked now. She's like, God, it's obviously photoshopped. Clearly, yeah. There's no way. I just asked in front of everybody that was.
Somehow Rey got pregnant, so here we are.
It was the Force, mate. That's what it was.
Disney magic.
I mean, there is precedence to
forced
that.
pregnancy.
So
There is.
let's not sit here.
Force
Let's not sit
source.
here and act like that's never happened in that
Yeah,
series
yeah.
before. So
If Princess Leia can fly in space, I'm sure she can get pregnant by just
It
a
would just be
kiss.
so peak Disney though if Rey gives birth to the Messiah. Then
God.
But it's
The
just
girl
Rey.
bee is the
Again.
key
She
to
gives birth
everything.
to herself. It's just a constant
Yeah.
flow
Gives
of Rey, Messiah.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's the problem. I think that's why it was the fact that people could look at it and even think, yeah, that's actually believable, says a lot about the state Disney Star Wars finds itself in. Because
Yeah.
in a sane world, you'd look at that and think, there's no way that's going to happen. But
So stupid.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, Baby Grogu.
No, I'm just
Baby
weird.
Grogu.
Can I just say it's just weird that they even considered bringing Ray back in the first place, seeing that the people that really didn't like the sequel trilogy. Is it?
Well,
Yeah.
they don't care, do they?
No, it made money still, regardless, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but like
Mm.
she made a comment recently, Kathleen Kennedy did, about like, oh, we learned a lot through what we've done on streaming. And I was just like, so what did you learn? That no one wants to watch your bullshit anymore, whether it's actually like okay or bad? Like Andor was well received and no one watched that shit. Mandalorian's in the stinker, and not a lot of people are watching that. What did you learn that influenced you to bring Ray back?
she
Well,
just
she was
had a
never
hot
on
flash.
any of
That's
those
all.
shows you just
Fuck
mentioned.
all.
Those
what they
shows didn't
learned.
have Ray.
Those
So
shows
that's
didn't
what
have
that
Ray,
was the
that's why-
problem. That was the problem.
You know what? That could actually be her thought process. Of course, it didn't work. We don't have the story here.
That's it.
No
I
one
think
wants
you
to see
nailed it.
Luke building a Jedi Order in the Book of Boba Fett. What we want to see is Rey doing that, so that's what we're going to get. But there is sort of one salutary piece of news, which is the Dave Filoni one of the 3 films is supposed to wrap up the entire sort of post-Empire timeline. So there is theoretically an end in sight now for The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan. All of the garbage they've put out could culminate in this Dave Filoni-led epic, and then there'll be no more of it afterwards. We hope.
No, no way.
Sorry, what did Dave Filoni do? I don't like this name sounds familiar, but I don't.
Dave Filoni wore a hat.
Everything.
That's all he did, really. Let's face it. It's just wears hats. That's all.
According to him, he
Cowboy
did
hats.
everything. So,
Gotcha.
Really?
Okay.
but his name is attached to pretty much every one of the cartoons, the CG ones, all those like Clone Wars and all those. His name is attached to Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I'm assuming the Acolyte is attached to as well. So he's basically just the guy that's name is on everything.
So
He
is that
just-
also
he
part?
can't think what he's creating is good. He can't. No sane writer could actually come to the conclusion that stuff is
No
good.
sane writer.
Okay,
Anyway,
well, there you go.
Fatal
There's a
mistake.
caveat. What has he? I only saw the recent Well, I did see it. The recent Mandalorian thing where Lizzo and Jack Black was there, and I was like, I'm glad I never got into the Mandalorian.
I actually
God,
finally
stunt
watched
casting.
that clip. By the way,
you?
that was really cringy.
Yeah,
Really
Why?
cringy.
Why? Like, look, stunt casting is the first sign of sheer desperation. Always has been, always will be.
I don't think it's the first sign. I think it's the last sign of desperation.
Well, that's a fair point.
Usually, the first sign of desperation is repeating storylines, which the Mandalorian does every week. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I was
the-
quite
Filoni-
surprised that they didn't have a Lizzo going into a ship with a bum out. You know, just
That's what I was saying. This is the
They would have-
most clothes I've ever seen Lizzo wear, like
Yeah.
ever. I
They
was
would have to-
surprised I didn't see her vagina rolls.
They would have to build a massive prop ship if they were to get her on it, or spend a
Absolutely.
Yeah.
shit ton of money to make the
They just
CGI
missed an
work.
opportunity as they introduce us to Lizzo, and then someone says it looks like they're walking toward that small moon.
I was just going to say they should, they should use her at the end of the episode and blew her up. You know,
I can only
Death Star.
assume that the reason they didn't try to do the ship thing is because they actually did do their due diligence and had somebody on staff who said this would require so much propulsion that we're just not even going to bother to try and figure it out.
They'll run out of
gravity's a
hyperfuel again.
bitch.
But I mean, Dave Filoni has sold himself largely, but some people have tried to sell him as well as being sort of George Lucas's anointed successor. He worked with George Lucas. Lucas effectively handed over control of things like the Clone Wars to him, I think, in the earlier days. So he was a trusted lieutenant. And he was billed in those early days back when people were naive enough to think that he and Favreau could save Star Wars as being the guy who knew all of the things he needed to know. He's the lore expert. He's worked with George. He'll continue George Lucas's vision. And he's helmed all of these animated shows, which people tell me are really good. So yeah, let's hand control over this time period to him. And they've given him this film. Well, they gave him basically the entire sort of collapse of Empire timeline because that's what he specialized in. After the Clone Wars, Rebels is set in this time period. The Mandalorian is set in the time period. Kenobi's likewise. Ahsoka's going to be set in this. All of these characters, some of these characters are his own unique creations as well. So he's nominally the person who's in charge and knows what he's doing. And it's just staggering that this is the result of someone who knows what they're doing. The Mandalorian
Money.
season 3.
It's money, and also he's sucking up as well. So do you know what I mean? They're going to be remembered for destroying Star Wars, all of them. I don't understand how they can not see that.
Hey, you got everything that they said that they were going to give you. You got diversity. You got dinosaurs. Twice.
We got shit as well.
Question.
Shit.
Okay, is this Star Wars event with everything that got announced? Is this going to be another like how James Gunn announced all of this shit preemptively? Maybe a bunch of it won't bother getting made because Disney is losing money and it's pretty obvious now.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, the chances of the Rey film being made, I think, is 50-50, to tell you the truth. It's not a certainty,
It's
is
bluff.
it? Let's face it.
It's all bluff. It's got to be
You
bluff
reckon?
at this point. Yeah.
Because they had this event planned for quite some time, if I remember correctly. So
They did. I mean, it happens. Star Wars celebrations every year, isn't it? I think so. It's the one they usually use to make these big announcements. But
What
I mean,
about- what
you're
about the
right in
viewing
the sense that
figures?
most viewing figures, I don't think they
Has it gone
release.
down? I
The
mean, for
Mandalorian's
yeah.
gone down.
No, I mean for the event compared to last time.
I don't know.
Not sure. Couldn't answer that.
They
one.
won't have the full data yet because it's still going. Wasn't it still going on today? So the full data won't happen until it's officially over.
But no, to answer Vex's question, I mean, the fast track version is usually if Disney if Lucasfilm is announcing something, that's announcing something Kathleen Kennedy has yet to cancel but will eventually in short order. So whether even the majority of these things get made, but you know, she says that all three of these films are, and I quote, quite far along in development. Which, well, she could be lying, or maybe they've secretly been working on this stuff for a while. She's also said that Taika Waititi is still doing his, and that apparently he's locked himself in a room, and to use her own words, he's not letting anyone else have a say in his script. He wants it to be entirely his work. And
Oh,
is
Kathleen
he
Kennedy
having more
says,
threesomes with the female cast?
That's probably yes.
You know it's going to be crap. You know it's going to be
Oh my
crap.
What do you
God.
do? Because I mean, Taika is good at directing other people's scripts, but the problem with Thor: Love and Thunder is that he wrote and directed that all on his lonesome, and that turned out to be complete garbage. And that seems to be what Kathleen Kennedy wants him to do, and is championing him doing with the Star Wars film that he's apparently still working on. So, yeah, what was that quote about him destroying your mythos in a second? I can see
I'll
that.
destroy your mythos in a second, baby.
That's the one.
Exactly. What
Why
he
would
said.
you say that, though? You must be
Yeah.
a complete...
Arrogance.
Oh, he's such a... Anyway, he's called Titty
Sorry,
for a
what did he
reason, I
say?
guess.
Could you reiterate, please?
I
He
don't...
said,
I,
I will destroy your mythos in a second, baby.
Why? What did he say that in reference to?
Thor.
and Thor was
fair,
flat.
Every single thing that he thinks that he can do that to. That's-
To
What?
be fair, he did come through.
He wasn't lying.
I wonder how
was
many
proud of
mythos.
Thor.
I wonder how many
He-
actresses, mythoses he's destroyed in a minute. I would be
Definitely
very
Tessa
interested.
Thompson, at least.
Yeah.
Really? He did Tessa Thompson?
They
Yeah,
smashed
he
smashed
and
hers in, yeah.
Rita Ora, they had a threesome while
Probably
filming.
currently doing
Smashed
How
her
do we know
mythos in
this?
Because Tessa
Photos.
Thompson said it.
I put it in my review. I put the photos up in my review. It's the most replayed section of my review.
Really?
Dear, oh dear.
So you guys think he was proud of do you think he was proud of Thor: Love and Thunder, or
Bloody
He didn't
hell.
care.
I don't think
dude.
he cared if it was
didn't
good or
care.
not.
Yeah, I'm with you, Darkhour.
He
I
was
really don't
slagging
think
it
he
off.
cared.
He was slagging off the special effects and everything, wasn't he?
Yep.
At one point?
Oh yeah, he was.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
he there was a segment and an interview, right, where he and Tessa Thompson was like, "Oh, I didn't know we did this." Oh
Yeah.
God.
I mean, this is also the same guy who asked when he was saying he's going to get a Star Wars film. He asked if Natalie Portman would like to be involved.
Oh,
in Star Wars
Yeah.
and she just stared at him. So I mean, it's not.
God, you're right.
It's not. He clearly lives in another universe that none of us can seem to achieve. Like it's a reality that we can't possibly comprehend.
It
he
almost
probably
seems like a
was.
stretch. It almost seems like a stretch to actually hire people who actually like what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that's part of the reputation he seems to want to build for himself. I wouldn't be surprised if he was quite proud of Thor: Love and Thunder, because he's building this image of himself as kind of like the bad boy of Hollywood. He pisses people off, and he thinks that that's a sign of his success.
Oh, Maverick.
It's classic sort of small dick syndrome. In
He
that
thinks
it's just-
he's a bad boy?
I think he does. Yeah,
That's
how
the
it's-
most feminine bad
What?
boy I've ever seen in my life, then.
It's the most pathetic bad boy in so many quotes. Bad boy.
Yeah.
Oh dear, seriously.
But he does. I mean, if you listen to any of the interviews he does around his films, he's always got that very sort of smug, dismissive, I'm too big for this kind of tone. I mean, with Thor: Love and Thunder, he said he wanted to tell he kind of wanted to do a love story, but he didn't think love stories were cool, so he wanted to do his own version, which would be better. And yeah, it wasn't. But it's...
Wasn't any better.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, dear God.
So yeah, but anyway, on the Star Wars point, apparently that is still going on. Yeah, then you've got Filoni's thing, which potentially ends that entire sequence of products he's putting out. Then we've got the one that's going way back in time. I think they said 25,000 years. They're recreating the Dawn of the Jedi for this other one, and it'll be about the first Jedi and how the first Jedi gains his force powers. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was so. No,
isn't that woman in charge of it the one that used to work for Harvey Weinstein?
Quite possibly.
Oh no.
Which one is this?
The girl with the glasses. I can't remember her name.
That's Vex is in charge. So.
Oh no, not Vex.
What, you
Let me
went
ask you
wrong,
guys-
Weinstein?
Let me ask you guys a question, right? Say, for instance, right, by some miracle, all the people that were in charge of Star Wars got blown up, and they said, "You know what, Movie Cynic, you're in charge of Star Wars now. What films would you say you had to make 3 movies? What 3 movies would you present to the Star Wars fans?" Now, there's a question to everyone.
I was going to say, I am not a huge Star Wars fan, so I would put that guy in charge.
Which one?
Right here. Little Platoon.
What?
Hello.
Okay, what if you had to put,
deflection.
I'll make it easy for you. If you had to put 2 movies out, what 2 movies would you put out for the Star Wars fans?
I think it has to be 3. You can easily
3?
do a trilogy. Are we allowed to say, okay, my first act is to come out to apologize to fans and say that we're going to basically retcon the sequel trilogy, and I'm going to do all of that again? If I'm allowed to do that, then that's what I'm doing. And then the first thing I'll probably do is... oh no, because I'd have to go back in time because Carrie Fisher's dead. That's what it would.
Don't say
AI
Endor.
technology. AI technology. It's okay.
Yeah, no, we can just CG her back. That's fine.
Yeah.
The acting
Yeah.
will be better. So yeah, you could even is it Timothy Zahn's
The cocaine
Thrawn
build.
trilogy? You
Heir
could do
to
that.
the Empire, yeah.
Heir to the
right.
Empire trilogy, which is
Right.
what sort of Dave Filoni has been abortively trying to do with The Mandalorian. He's made a couple of these references. I think the actual phrase "Heir to the Empire" appears in the trailer for Ahsoka that was released at Star Wars Celebration. But if what you wanted, that was the ideal thing to do. You set this in sort of the post-Empire, post-New Republic, or in the height of the New Republic phase. You do Timothy Zahn's arc, or you do something that's set around the same time as that. The building threat and the outside of the galaxy as the New Republic struggles to come into being is your first film, with the reveal of the threat at the end of that film. The second part of the trilogy would be the threat kind of ascendant. It's when he re-enters the galaxy, then you go back to war, and the third film is the resolution to that arc. But then during that, of course, you've got Luke Skywalker, you've got Princess Leia, you've got Han Solo, you've got all the old greats who are older now, they're more experienced, they're in their prime, and they are bringing up slowly over the course of 3 films the next generation of main characters underneath them. They are training the next Jedi Order. In theory, someone that you bring up, a younger actor who's learning from the older masters, can then take over the franchise once these main 3 have sort of bowed out of the stage. But you make it ideally contiguous. I don't think before the sequel trilogy people would have ever said you have to go thousands of years forward or backward, because there was no necessary reason. You can't very accurately and convincingly depict the New Republic era, and there's some great stories that are set there. So yeah, assuming I can yeet everything Disney's done, that would be what I would do.
Oh, well, it sounds like a good idea. Maybe they should hire you.
So I looked at this Leslie Headland woman.
Yeah.
She's a flaming lesbian, first of all.
Okay.
Her wife is going to be in that Acolyte series that she's making. And up until now, the most prominent things she's worked on are The Bachelorette and Russian Doll.
Nice.
Oh wow, sounds like a great scriptwriter for the Acolyte.
It's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
As Platoon was talking, I was actually kind of thinking of like how I could work something in like as a trilogy to sort of not necessarily fix, like let's say we weren't allowed to just throw everything out. I think one of the biggest stories that was never told and would be fun would be the fractioning of the Empire that would lead to the rise of the First Order. How? Because that's generally when large empires break, they break off into smaller, almost like pocket kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that if like we had to stay within the continuity, let's say that was the restriction, then I think that would actually be a story that would be worth telling. Like, okay, so this section of the galaxy is now run by this faction, and this is run by this, and kind of like a massive war of, and then the First Order comes out on top, kind of. Because that's the thing that always bothered people, is it's like there's no explanation. It's like, just, okay, the Empire fell, the First Order's here. What happened in between there? No one cares, apparently.
Yeah, so somehow
And
they
they're
turned an entire
obsessively-
planet into a giant space laser, and the New Republic didn't think to do anything about that. Like, how do you not notice?
And like the Republic, like the New Republic in the new trilogy, just kind of was a system. Like it didn't expand the way that you would expect it to. So clearly there must have been some sort of giant galactic chess game going on that the First Order eventually won. But that requires good writers to tell that kind of story, and that's not what we had. So.
No, and the old expanded universe did stuff like that. I mean, you had various factions of the Imperial Remnant. Is it the Pentastar Alignment was one of them? There's like dozens of others, and it did try, because George Lucas took a lot of inspiration from like Decline and Fall of Edward Gibbon's book, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, to try and make this kind of an historical parallel. And the old expanded universe tried to, I think, take the same approach. So you had the empire fracturing in exactly the same way as you would expect, as you say, a real life empire to fall and to fracture. But you have these warlords who still have immense power because the empire is militarily superior, and these people don't just lose access to their resources. The old EU did a lot of this, and it did some of it really very well. And The Mandalorian was at the start kind of promising, because it at least suggested that they were going to try and explore this period of the galaxy and recreate what Kathleen Kennedy retconned and then claimed never existed. But The Mandalorian has now become what The Mandalorian is, which is just, like, some of the ideas are still just about there, but the way they weave it into this comically awfully written thing is well, it's funny, it's not depressing, it is still enjoyable because it's so shit you can just laugh at it. But like, all the potential they are squandering is mammoth.
Hey, you know what I would do?
I would do
Go on, carry on.
Dawn of the Jedi and
right.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Why not?
I love Splinter the Mind's Eye. I loved it when I read that book. I just loved it. But I would do, because the two characters that fascinate me when I was a kid from Empire Strikes Back was Lando Calrissian and Han Solo. Once they met up and in Empire, I started wondering what their adventures was like when they were together before they met Princess Leia and Luke and stuff like. I would do that. I would do one film where, they're together and they're smuggling and and getting into trouble and stuff. I would do that. That's what I would do. I think there's too much focus on the Empire and how so-and-so's built and the Jedi and all that stuff. I think I'll just do something that's really fun and fast moving and character driven and stuff like that. That's what I would do. Just one movie. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay.
I mean,
agrees.
you had a pretty good
Sorry?
concept right there last year with the. I just released a re-released like an extended version of my Obi-Wan Kenobi's full series review
Right.
like a couple of days ago, and I mentioned briefly in it that like you had a really good story right there, and I know it was originally supposed to be a movie. Because you could have made like an Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood style kind of movie, because you're dealing with these gargantuan characters, right? Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and they're the two of the biggest characters in movie history. But you make a really down low, like dirty style movie. That would have been super interesting to me. That's. As a not mega Star Wars fan, I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been super cool.
I think I like the idea. I like the idea that we're not talking about the Empire anymore. We're not talking about Jedis and stuff like that. Just the will to survive and character driven and again, just move a lot faster with it. You know what I mean? And but not be stupid, as in just to have action and pew pew all the way, but just have a decent story that's running all the way through it. I think that when I was watching a bit of the Star Wars thing, I think they're concentrating too much on, we got to get the origins of the Empire or the this and and the. You know what I mean? It's like, well, are we going to go back to the prequels when that was boring as well? And we were talking about the Republic and all that crap. We don't need that. We just need Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? So
there you go.
Anyway.
Booyah Moon says Reva. There you go.
Oh,
The whole
God.
Reva series,
Reva.
trilogy of Reva.
Oh, what? They're going to do that?
Well, apparently not. Kathleen Kennedy said that though she recognizes, because Ewan McGregor says he wants to do an Obi-Wan season 2, which, I mean, I want to make money, so I'm all for that. But as a Star Wars fan, I'm not.
Watch Larry
But-
instead.
Yeah, I
Watch
could do that.
Larry
But
instead. That's so
Kathleen
much
Kennedy
better.
said that is not in active development, so there will be no news. She's not ruling it out, but that's not currently on Disney's slate of releases. So there isn't yet a planned Obi-Wan season 2, which is a real shame. Because, I mean, the one that always sticks in my head is that, yeah, when Obi-Wan leads Vader down to the planet and then Vader follows him down and then says, "Did you come to destroy me?" So that level of writing is just, no stand-up comedian could be as funny as that.
My favorite line in Obi-Wan Kenobi, when I had to go back and relive that horror, was when I think it was Bail Organa. He goes, "I know we agreed on no communication, but your silence worries me." And I thought my head was going to explode.
Oh dear, seriously.
Oh god.
Is this the
Oh,
same?
dear.
Wait, am I recalling this correctly? Because I didn't watch it. I just got it from like memes. Is this accurate? When there was a guy that got killed in an earlier episode, and then he comes back and brags to the girl Riva who's dying. He brags that, "Oh, the dark side makes you stronger when you're near death," and they don't kill her. Isn't that a weird thing to do? Was that right?
Wasn't the whole
Is that what
thing
happened in
weird?
the show?
Yep. No, that is
Yeah.
exactly what happens. That's the Grand Inquisitor. She stabs him in episode,
Fair.
is it 2 or 3? The guy with the really strange voice.
Oh, yeah.
And then he comes back. And then, and then Vader stabs her, and then they leave her lying on the ground. And yet, with no ship, because we've just seen the ships all take off or Vader destroys them, so there's no ships left, and yet somehow she manages to recover and get all the way to Tatooine before Obi-Wan, who's already on a ship on the way to Tatooine, can get there. And she's just basically fine again. And yeah, they just left her lying on the ground.
She has been
Why
stabbed in
wouldn't
the
you kill
stomach
her?
with a lightsaber twice, and poor Qui-Gon ate shit after one stab back in episode 1.
And Han Solo, he got stabbed in the stomach. He didn't make it.
No, he didn't make it either.
What
But
about
Reba-
what about a bit where he had to go through that thing and all he could do was just walk around it? Remember that bit?
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, the gate,
I
the
pointed
gate.
that out too.
Oh,
yeah.
I had like giant arrows
God.
pointing like 2 feet more, and you can just walk around that bitch. But yeah, fuck
But
it.
it's
Which makes him a
incompetence all the way down. It's
conformist.
it's incompetent writing, but it's also incompetent directing because you didn't need to show people. They actually
Yes.
give people the bird's eye view of the gate, therefore clearly showing everyone you can just walk around it. Just don't have that scene in there, and then you don't have that problem. But the
He did
writing
have
is
his Oyster
mammothly
card.
incompetent. No, he didn't apparently. But the writing is staggeringly incompetent. But the directing was as well. Although at least compared to the Book of Boba Fett, where they didn't even bother finishing half the sets, the scene construction was good enough, I suppose, in Obi-Wan.
I didn't watch all of it. But the bits that I did watch, like when he hid Princess Leia under his coat, that was
Oh,
just
God.
hilarious.
It reminded me of
Absolutely
Austin Powers
hilarious.
immediately. That's like
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of was Mini Me. Oh man. And poor Wade, like it really blew my mind that Wade has become a meme at this point. Of he's the character that did anyone even see his face? But everyone makes
He
fun of
was
it.
in a
because-
helmet. But
Oh yeah, okay. He had a helmet on. But like, why even bother having a character shout that character's name? Like anyone in the audience is going to give a shit about this character that's never spoken a line. We've never seen him.
It's just
and
really
who
stupid
only
things
dies
that-
because he flies his snowspeeder right within lightsaber striking range of Reva to shoot her. You're in a spaceship, dude. You don't need to be in close proximity to someone with a melee weapon if you're in a spaceship. Just fly away, you absolute idiot. But no, I mean, I cared more about him than any other character in the show because he wasn't in it enough for me to actively despise him.
Star Wars is just shit.
There's a
man.
high bar.
I'm just glad I don't have to watch. I don't have to actually watch Mandalorian. I just watched your guys like make fun of it for 3 hours, and
I'm still working. I'm doing a big review of The Mandalorian. It's like the first 4 episodes alone is a 2-hour video, and there's 4 episodes left to go after that, and they're only getting worse. So I don't know yet if it's going to be a 2-parter or if it's going to be one huge video.
But this is the thing, right? You don't understand. Well, I think you do understand this, but I still don't understand it. My family loved The Mandalorian, and then I say to them, "What about the bit where the creature picks up the boy and he held him in his mouth for 2 days?" And they're like, well, you know. And what about a bit? And I keep going, what about this bit? What about that bit? And I go, oh, well, but it's enjoyable. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
These are the
we
people
are.
that watch this show. You know?
The
Your
average
fans,
audience
your
is dumbed
fans.
down significantly over the last just like 5 years.
Yeah.
So this
Right.
is acceptable.
5 years? Just
Okay,
that's all
I'm
you-
gonna say it's jumped quite a bit in the last 5 years, but it's been an ongoing thing for longer. But
Yeah.
you can say this about most TV shows these days. Everyone
No.
praises them, and it's like, no, these are straight fucking trash. What are you talking about? It's just the audience has gotten dumber.
Great
Vex,
point.
can I just comment also? I think that's for every media because I played Hogwarts Legacy. I played Hogwarts Legacy, and the performance for that on PC is terrible. So I went back to the. So I also played at the same time Wolong, which is a far better game, and it was running well on my PC. But when you look at the Steam reviews for it, Hogwarts Legacy had very positive to overwhelmingly positive reviews at the start, and Wolong got railed on
Yeah.
in Steam. It's like it started with overwhelmingly negative. Now it's at mixed, and people were criticizing it for like bad performance, which is I think fair for a PC game, since like one of the things about PCs is that it's optimized for
Yeah.
customization, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's a fair assessment. But I saw a fucking review on Steam where it goes, "Oh, it kind of stutters, but I think I have to buy a new PC." That for Hogwarts, that's so they're like
You- no,
they're
you're-
giving
you're-
it.
You're missing a
They're-
point there. That person just wants an excuse to buy a new PC.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
that wasn't them. They were just like, oh, I better buy a new PC.
But it
Yeah,
is a weird
why-
argument. It's like, the game's fine. I just need to spend $3,000 on a PC, but the game itself is fantastic.
Just to play the game.
Yeah,
I
so
played it. I played Hogwarts Legacy on PS5. I think part of that is that Hogwarts Legacy is such a normie game. I mean, everyone
my
floods
God.
to play Hogwarts Legacy, and these are not people who have a huge amount of experience with games. So like, I play it and I think, okay, but when am I not doing a fetch quest? And
You're not.
people who
This
don't.
is what
yeah.
confused me is like Hogwarts Legacy got great reviews and then it literally just disappeared after 2 weeks because everyone's like, oh, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again.
it's MMORPG.
Well, I
Pretending to
died
be,
laughing.
Yeah.
I died laughing watching Little Platoon playing it, and when he was diving for the little things to pick up from the bottom of the pond, I was crying with laughter because it was. What do I need to do? It's like, I just need to hover over it.
I was just
pathetic.
expecting the game to actually have a mechanic that wasn't just press square to go underwater.
It was so funny.
Expectations subverted, I think, with that one. But that's another. It sort of links to the Star Wars and the Mandalorian point, which is that because it is so approachable to normies, and as Beacon Warrior was saying, like, you know,
Yeah.
it gets such great reviews on Steam from people who aren't really big gamers. They don't really pay attention to games. They don't really know what to expect, and they don't really have high expectations either. So they all flood there because they love Harry Potter. They will play it, and they have nothing really to compare it to. And then they all just piss off, and so it has is it a 25% completion rate, I think, on Steam, which is not, it's not underperforming your average sort of first-person roleplay game, but it's not exceeding it either. Compared to the initial hype that the game received, the fact that it, in the long run, just performs like any standard RPG probably is a point of criticism.
Yep. And
But this isn't a Hogwarts Legacy conversation.
Oh no. Yeah, no,
Well,
it's just more
Harry
of like
Potter's next though.
yeah, I mean it's
We
like,
have way too much Star Wars left. I don't know.
Yeah.
it's just like what Platoon said. It's like people will accept shit if they don't have any perspective, or if they'll just give excuses to like it, even though there's something nagging at the back of their mind. Is this okay? It's like maybe Grogu manipulating the ball to help Lizzo. Maybe it's weird, but I like Mandalorian. you know, so
And he got knighted for it. Bloody hell.
So
What?
Grogu. Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
he gets
episode,
knighted. Lizzo knights him with a sword.
for helping him cheat.
I only watched the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian, so I have a question for you guys. I've read an article that's basically saying like, the show isn't really about Pedro Pascal's character anymore, or it's not, like it seems like it's not going to be.
No.
So what if that's true? Which you'll have to correct me if it's not. What was the point of even getting Grogu back in the first place? Like that, I remember the season 2 ending and just being like, "Hey, that's what." Like whether you like the story or not, like okay, that's wrapping up the story. That's cool. Even if they left it at that, like that's fine. And then it felt like they brought him back for that sitcom style.
It's not a
You have to go
school,
back to
Vex.
you have to go back to baseline. And so what's the point if he's not going to be the main character anymore?
Go on, Vex. Go on.
He's cute. That's it. That's literally it. He's
in
cute.
the bin.
She's not wrong. It's merchandise. Is what
Well,
it is.
yeah,
they
but-
were about to lose their merchandise cash cow.
Well, what I mean is like you could just send him off with another character then. But
That's
what they did.
why reunite? Oh, I haven't seen the show.
No, but no. The rumor is that the Mandalorian is going to connect to this new Rey film, and Rey's going to end up with Baby Yoda.
Oh my god,
Really?
That's the rumor.
Smack
Yeah,
him
it's the
off
rumor.
his
She's
head
gonna
off
give
the
birth
So
to
maybe that's
Baby
what she's
Yoda.
pregnant with. Maybe
that's
it was
what-
Photoshop.
She had it off with
She's
Yoda.
not
Yoda's
pregnant.
Force
It's actually
Ghost.
she's smuggling.
I just caught something in the chat.
What's that? I want Baby Yoda to die.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But they tried to
That's what
farm him
they're
off.
saying, isn't
At
they? I don't
the
know if
end
it's
of the end of season 2, they tried to farm Baby Yoda off to Luke. Luke
Yeah.
appears, and Luke he takes him away, and that's it. He's out of the script. Then the Mandalorian is now going to go off and do what everyone was always wanting the Mandalorian to do, which is be a fucking Mandalorian. Go and be a bounty hunter for a bit. That will be fun. But Baby Yoda is, as Darkhour says, an incredible merchandising draw. And so they very, very haphazardly just slapped him back in, but in the sort of penultimate stage of the Book of Boba Fett. So anyone who didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett because they were sane would have skipped that entirely. And then they get to the end of Mandalorian Season 2 and Grogu's gone. And then they get to the beginning of Mandalorian Season 3 and he's back in a brand new ship with his little head poking out the top of the M1 Starfighter, and look how adorable he is. And then he's ruining the script because what the hell is the point of Mando anymore? But they have now decided just to replace Mando effectively with Bo-Katan, which is another, I think, Dave Filoni's incentives, is that, you know, Bo-Katan in the backstory has, you know, a fully fleshed out arc. She is a properly established character. Some of the stories she's involved in are quite good, and they're essentially trying to replay those. But this is supposed to be The Mandalorian. I suppose the defense will be, well, we called it The Mandalorian, but we didn't tell you which Mandalorian we were referring to.
That's what I said about
always
Loki.
A Mandalorian.
That's what I said
a
about
Mandalorian.
Loki.
A woman DeLorean, or whatever. No, that's a female Back to the Future
Femdalorian.
reference. Yeah. But Baby Grogu just ruins everything. He's always ruined everything. The only good episodes of season 1 of Mando were the ones where in one point they literally locked him in a cupboard to get him out of the script, and so Mando could go and be a bounty hunter, and that was a good episode. I liked that one. But he's such a good sales pitch that they have to keep throwing him into stories that he doesn't belong in.
Kids love him too. Like I see a lot of kids wearing Baby Yoda like T-shirts and stuff like that, or Baby Yoda backpacks. Like,
Yeah.
but they don't even know what the fuck he's from. They just think he's cute.
I hate to say it, but I've got pajamas with Baby Yoda on it.
I literally have an animatronic Baby Yoda next to me, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one who has some.
Oh, my God.
There you go,
Help.
proving the point.
It reacts. You pat it on the head, and it uses what I believe is an attempt at the Force. So, but I will say one thing about the since we mentioned that, you know, Mando isn't, I guess Din Djarin isn't the main character anymore, and that whole thing. I don't think that this is an instance. So I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I don't think that in this instance, it's 100% just them being like, we want the girl boss character to take over for this. They practically don't have Pedro Pascal anymore. This could be half them just being like, we want it to be a Bo-Katan story, but also them being like, maybe we don't really need the guy who's completely checked out anyway. I think there's a little bit of each. I don't think it's 100% maliciously them being like, we don't like this character. Let's get him gone.
They could save a lot of money just by getting an AI to replicate his voice and then get
Or
any
that's
old
Karen.
sod off the street.
Yeah, but I
to-
would assume you'd still
run
have to
around.
pay him royalties anyway for the use of his
Yeah,
voice.
but
So why not
less.
just?
That might be
Yeah.
cheaper than just keeping him on staff, right?
No, but they can get someone to imitate his voice. Therefore, you know, still keeping the main Mandalorian in the show. I mean, why give the show to a female? I mean, haven't they got enough female boss ladies?
I saw
Not
that they
enough.
brought Katie
No, not
Sackhoff
enough.
into the Mandalorian. I have a feeling
That's who we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not even watching it, and just knowing that they brought her on, I have a feeling that it will end with her becoming the the main
Well,
character.
that's
this
where it's
season.
going.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay.
And
Well, that's
to be
going to make sure
fair,
I don't watch it. So I'm all set.
The
She's got
acting
nice
improves
tits,
when
though.
she
That's a
when she
reason
puts the
to
helmet
watch.
on.
I see nice
Well,
tits all the time. It's fine.
Vex, come on, come on,
You're such a misogynist. Oh my god.
Jesus.
To be fair, they do actually have a properly completed story that they can tell with Bo-Katan. So the idea that they need someone to reunite the Mandalorian clans, and it ties into the mythology that's built out in the old, well, not the newer expanded universe stuff. But she has a completed arc that they can reference. I think part of the problem is that the Mandalorian was so unexpectedly successful when it came out that they've had to try and find some kind of way of extending the story well beyond what they ever thought it was going to do. And the only way they've been able to do that now is by tying it into the story that they would have told had they had the confidence to do a Bo-Katan show from the off. But the Mandalorian was this almost this afterthought. They put it on screen to keep content coming out. It turns out to be wildly successful, and so they have to keep it. And so how do we make the rest of the universe bend around a character for whom we have no story? What are we supposed to do with this? Well, he's a
Maybe Yoda and
Mandalorian, she's a
drag.
Mandalorian, they can meet, yeah, and then it will be the Bo-Katan show going on. I don't think that that's you can't hold it against the show necessarily, because there are great ways you can tell a Bo-Katan centered story. The problem people have is partly the bait and switch, and it's partly that the rest of the show of which is a part is not doing justice to that story, because the show is awfully written, and it's now reached the point where it's so desperate that it's bringing on Lizzo to try and boost its popularity, which is never a good sign for any property.
Yeah, it's just a big waste of everyone's time. It really is. I mean, every Wednesday we review it, and it just gets worse and worse all the time. But you can see that they who's the other guy, Filoni, and the other fella, the one who was an
Favreau.
Iron Man. Favreau. You can see Favreau wanted the Mandalorian to be a hero, because at the end, when you see the paintings, you can see the Mandalorian stopping the robot. You can see Lizzo wasn't in the paintings, obviously. You know, it's all KK and whoever's in charge messing around with probably a decent script. They originally had a decent script, so that's what I think anyway. That's what I think. But you know, who knows?
The most disheartening thing is that the worst episodes of The Mandalorian season 3 have all been written by Jon Favreau. And it used to be the
Yeah,
case. You know, this is a guy who's been intimately involved in some very successful franchises. I mean, Iron Man will never be taken away from him.
But they've rewritten it, Ben. You can tell they've rewritten his scripts.
I mean, it seems that way, yeah. But in which case, they're not giving credit to the people who are doing the rewriting, because his name is still front and center on the worst episodes that they're putting out at the moment.
Under
Damn.
contract, I guess. Contract of the script writer. So you know, but as I'm saying, the proof is in the paintings you see at the ending, because I said this before. Bo-Katan, whatever her name is, she stopped the robot, but in the paintings you can see the Mandalorian stopping the robot. That's what I'm saying. So I think what they've done is they've changed the script. They've changed it, and he's just kind of threw his hands in the air like he just doesn't care, and just let them carry on. That's why he wasn't in the Star Wars celebrations. He wasn't there. I think he's just washed his hands of Star Wars now because he lost control over it. That's what I think.
And that was one of the interesting things that came out of the Book of Boba Fett when they were talking to Tamura Morrison, who was doing his best impression of Mark Hamill in trying to warn us how shit the thing was going to be. But there was one point when he was talking about, like, he thought the character should be doing this, and he thought Boba Fett wouldn't be doing that. He should be silent, he should be strong, he should be, what everyone remembers Boba Fett as being, and he's really passionate about it. And he says, and, the writers, I tried to get in touch with Jon Favreau, but, he was away in LA and I couldn't speak to him. And this is the guy who's supposedly in charge of the damn show, and your main actor can't get in touch with the person who's running it, which does suggest something is going wrong in terms of Jon Favreau's relationship with Disney and with Star Wars.
I mean, this is a good guess, isn't it? Is that his control got taken away from him? Do you know what I mean? And this season, he wrote scripts, they changed it, and now he's walked away. It's so obvious he's walked away. So if you look at the stuff, that's not Favreau. Favreau's not that stupid, So anyway, whatever.
You know who's stupid? Who's stupid, Mega Geek? The guy that rewrote the script and still had the painting of the victory with Mandalorian in it, right? You would think they'd edit that. Like, maybe you should change the painting a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
They just changed parts of the script and then didn't change the ending, which is really silly of them to have done.
Yeah,
Which can actually
the credit
can
sequence is
describe-
almost like it's a cry for help at this point. It's just, this is how good the show could have been, but nah, we weren't allowed.
Oh, just FYI, guys. We
Yeah.
got demonetized already, so say anything you want now.
Oh,
What?
man.
Really?
When?
But hold on, how?
Tinkleberries. Oh,
How?
darn.
Fit-
I know, but
Why?
I've been,
No way.
dude, I've been waiting to say
Who?
cunt this whole
Dinkle.
time.
Wee
Oh
wee.
my God.
Wait, what would have demonetized us though?
Why-
We've
why-
been very
why?
careful.
Fucking
I think
hell.
because
You've been
Movie
swearing.
Cynic said fuck very quickly, like within 8 seconds.
Oh, just
did.
7
appeal
seconds.
it.
I swear to God, it was at least like 30.
Well,
Whatever.
if you tell us relatively what time, I might be able to figure it out just based on when we reacted to something.
We were talking about the depravities of Star Wars, and this is evidently not fit for a sane audience, so that might be why. Just appeal the damn thing. I've not been swearing very much. That's very depressing.
There's actually like a great
Wait,
irony.
wait.
Oh,
It's just funny that. Wouldn't it be funny if that was the reason, right? Oh no, Kathleen Kennedy heard us talking shit about Star Wars. You should demonetize this game.
there's actually a great irony of that. So if so many videos I've watched over the years, anti-Star Wars. My first person I really followed was Mauler. He not notorious. He epically has torn that series.
He's
to
not even
shreds.
done yet.
And he's not even done. Yeah,
Not
he's,
even close to
he's
done.
still tearing apart the first of the trilogy that they made. And a lot of times, because it's tagged with Star Wars, the adverts that play before the videos are for Star Wars mobile games. So the money that's coming in from the adverts is for Star Wars, for something that's anti-Star Wars. It's the great irony of that. I've noticed it so many times.
It's that. It's, oh shit! This stream has more viewers than the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, so we can't possibly let that carry on.
Or for the Rings of Power, right? If the stream is about Rings of Power, or if it's a video talking about Rings of Power, you can see comments like, "Oh, I got an ad from Amazon telling me to watch Rings of Power."
Yeah, it's because the formulas don't account for what's being said. It's just that a lot of Star Wars comments here. These people are clearly interested. Let's just advert. It's like,
Yeah, like you sent me the screenshot yesterday, Platoon, where I shit on Avatar 2, yet they advertised Avatar when you searched for Movie Cynic.
Oh yeah, it's self-defeating. When I did my first Rings of Power video, because I was so tired by that point, and I hadn't realized, because I'd layered over it a clip from an Amazon advert, like a warehouse advert, that come and join our modern day slave plantation kind of advert. And I just hadn't cut the end of the clip, so the entire first third of the video was this huge Amazon warehouse documentary, and the copyright claimed it. I say, well, you shouldn't have done that, because the only reason I spotted it, because I didn't proof watch it, is because you copyright claimed what was essentially free advertisement for your company. So well done you, but you improved the video, so thank you. Once you stop manually claiming every fucking clip.
It's terrible censorship, isn't it? That's basically what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I can tell, we haven't said anything that's kind of, or have we?
Well-
no.
I'm just gonna guess it was the nice tits comment. That's just my guess.
That was Vex.
This is well, good.
Shut
Now I can
Vex
use
off.
my drops.
Get fucked.
YouTube hates nice tits. That's a shame.
So please tell me I didn't watch the Ahsoka trailer multiple times and we're not going to talk about it.
Oh no, I think we
I
should.
watched it.
Yeah, go.
I was going to say, because
You
I'm
started.
getting that sense, and I was like, I watched that thing like 3 times. I better talk about it for a little bit.
I mean, it looks okay.
Take us away, Darkhour. What did you think of the Ahsoka trailer?
Well, I mean, the first of all, the timing was fantastic because of everything that was going, like the Lizzo stuff. Obviously, we talked about that. The Mandalorian just not hitting its viewing numbers. Everyone shitting on the fact that they're bringing Rey back, and they're like, oh, but look at this. We have the thing everybody's been asking for a decade, and it pretty much tells you nothing, but there's a lot of lightsabers, so that's going to make you happy. And they even, I mean, I don't really 100%. I think the character is Balin, if I recall correctly, is his name. They basically look like they've just recreated the Rogue One Darth Vader sequence again, and it just becomes, at that point, it's just jingle keys. Looky over here, it's not. That's essentially how I felt about it, and I watched it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, okay, back of Thrawn's head. That's interesting, I guess. It was a trailer that was cut specifically to just distract you. That was the thing that I
Do you
got out of
know?
it.
Do you know what, Darkhour? Right? Do you know what? When I used to watch trailers, like say, let's take for instance a James Bond trailer, right? Like for instance, GoldenEye. They show James Bond being really cool. Then they have that scene where he's stuck in the thing, and the bomb's going to go off, and he's stuck in the plane, whatever. So he's in a bit of danger there. And then they show other bits where he's a bit of danger and stuff like that. When you watch the Ahsoka trailer, or any trailer involves women, they're never in danger. No, there's not one bit in it where you think, oh shit, I've got to see that because she might get her head chopped off or something like that. There's nothing in that trailer that says that she's in any kind of peril whatsoever. Don't you find that strange?
Well, that would require that they were in peril in the movie or the show, which
And
you need to
just
have a
Black Lives
clip
Matter.
to use. You can't just. I mean, I guess technically they could just film a clip for the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the classic one that everyone was, since I mentioned Rogue One, where I can't remember her name all of a sudden from Rogue One, but where the TIE fighter pops up like face to face. That wasn't even in the film.
Yeah, Jyn Erso.
Yeah, Jyn Erso. Yeah.
The plank. Yeah.
But yeah, but that, and like, so I guess technically they could have just filmed clips for it, but I would not be shocked if at no point in this show is she ever really in danger.
She looks badass though. In all the way through that trailer, she looks badass. Come on. And it's like, well, is there any peril in this whatsoever? You know, that's just what makes characters in trouble, and they overcome it, and and then win at the end. There doesn't seem to be anything in there.
Like I said, I just feel like the trailer itself was cut in a way that essentially was just shiny objects. It wasn't. It was to distract from all the stuff that they thought might not get a good reaction, didn't get a good reaction, and the things on their network that haven't been doing well, or their streaming service. I shouldn't say network, but
it should, nominally at least, it should be the most cohesive of all the Disney Star Wars TV shows, because this is Dave Filoni helming a show about a character he's created, whose story he's told, and who he understands. So it should be the one that's best capturing the essence of an existing character, and with a story that actually makes some kind of sense, because it's the culmination of an arc that he's been invested in since day one. There are a couple of problems with that. A, it's Dave Filoni, and so the odds of him making a mistake are pretty damn high. And B, there's references even in the trailer to characters and relationships that were formed during, I think it was Star Wars Rebels, wasn't it? Some of the characters who've reappeared from.
Yes.
And it depends then, because Dave Filoni very much likes self-referencing, but I would wager that the viewing figures for Star Wars Rebels and the relevant episodes of Star Wars Rebels are so much lower than the shows that this is supposed to be tying into, that it's a fairly transparent attempt to get people to go back and watch his other work. But also, how many people are actually going to be properly invested in these characters and relationships if they don't already know even vaguely who these people are? They're referencing something that very few people comparatively have ever seen.
That's a question and a half there, mate. I tell you, bloody hell. You can put your hand up now, Vex.
Well, I think the point in that, in like what you just said, is that they're kind of hoping that because it does tie into Mandalorian, which was until recently the defibrillator of their dying corpse, and essentially, I think what they were trying to do was tie everything to that, and then anything that had a storyline that would drag back into either the Clone Wars or Rebels or any of these things, to get people to go back and watch those, to increase their viewing numbers throughout their entire service. And I'm not so sure that that's the best formula to try, is to to do it that way. But I could see where the thought process is there, that like, okay, well, if we have people the people who are already invested talking about how, whoa, you need to go back and see this, it might get people to watch other stuff. It's kind of like the Netflix, like never makes a trailer, but they just rely on word of mouth, kind of like that.
Yeah, well, I can see a point, I guess. I don't know. I think Star Wars is on its way out, in my opinion. I reckon I give it 10 years and it's gone. That's what I think is going to happen.
I don't think it'll
We'll
ever
always have the
technically be
memories.
gone.
Nothing's ever really gone, right?
I don't think it will ever technically be gone.
We'll always
because-
have Alderaan.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Can I just say I'm surprised that Kathleen Kennedy is still around? Like, how is she still around?
We don't
How is
know.
she still around? We
Magic,
discussed
black magic.
Yeah. We discussed it already.
Some
Wait,
very,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
some
Okay,
very
okay.
interesting pictures that she has of very important people.
Yes.
We're all
Yes.
perplexed. We don't understand why she's around, but Cynic doesn't like her neck for some reason.
I was
and
gonna say,
don't know why.
people have tried to choke her out, and she can just fucking.
What, that neck though is probably why she still has a job, because she
That's-
gives good neck.
Dude, that's why it's so fucking thick. People
You'd
tried to
be
Epstein her, and
surprised.
she just laughed it off, dude.
You'd be surprised how many ways you can choke a person unconscious. I'm just gonna say.
That's appropriately
FYI.
dark for someone called Darkhour.
Dark hour.
Well, look, someone had to book the tickets for Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express, so who the hell knows?
dear.
But no, it's institutional inertia. It's the fact that she's incredibly well connected. It's the fact that the studios only listen to themselves and their employees and not the audience.
And she gives good head.
And she gives good head. Yep.
But it's Disney, though, isn't
Apparently,
it? Disney's the wokest
allegedly.
company in the world, one of the wokest companies in the world. So,
Yeah,
she's playing into the agenda, isn't she?
100%. Bob Iger recently buckled down on that, and he said, like, we listen to our employees, which includes fucking activists and all this shit. Like, that's who they listen to.
Yeah.
Just as a segue too, like the thing with the Bud Light. If anyone had seen the marketing person that was in charge of all that bullshit with the Bud Light cans, like, she fucking basically said all
Mad
of
eyes and teeth. Mad eyes and teeth. That's all they are. Mad eyes and
This
teeth.
woman said too that, like, oh, we need to get more young people drinking Bud. I'm just like,
what?
bitch, are you crazy? Like, literally every event you go to, there's Bud Light. Every house party I went to as a teenager, there was Bud Light. Every time I go to a rave, there's Bud Light. What do you mean young people are not around Bud Light?
Why do
I know,
Americans
it's
drink
crazy.
cat piss? I don't understand.
She's
It's
Canadian.
awful.
I don't
Yeah,
drink
well,
beer.
can
anymore.
I-
Don't put her in the same
whatever.
category as me.
Yeah, she
Bud
doesn't look
Light?
at the.
I still obey the queen, so I'm with you guys.
She
We don't
Queen's-
obey
the
the
Queen
Queen,
is,
she's
um,
dead.
The Queen is dead. Sorry to break the news. I know the news reaches Canada quite slowly, but yeah, she died a little while ago.
Someone
we
mentioned,
haven't
like, she
checked
didn't look
Charles's
at the-
gender yet, so we don't know.
She didn't look at the
Well,
rise,
unless,
like the
um,
competition, the rise of IPAs. What she looked at was our company isn't woke enough. Oops, we need to.
I was just thinking maybe Justin Trudeau is cosplaying as the Queen, and that's why there's confusion. But it's believable.
He's
seriously,
probably sucking
very
off Charles
convincing.
right now, if anything.
Oh, God's sakes.
No,
Vex.
stop.
We're
it.
Can't
already
take you
demonetized.
anywhere. What is wrong with you?
Technically, she's
Seriously. You know what, right?
Until they figure out a way to start taking money from the streams. that's-
Exactly. Just get Vex on your stream. Yeah. But look, listen, right? It's gotten worse because recently, well, a couple of weeks ago, I directed this corporate video about riding a bike through London and stuff like that. So they gave me money and I shot it and they were really happy. And then 2 weeks later, they phoned me up and said, so Ian, we need to shoot more. I'm like, oh, okay. You're going to pay me more money? Yeah, I'm going to pay you more money.
Oh,
And I said,
nice.
what more do we have to shoot? Well, it's not diverse enough. Apparently, all the people riding the bikes in the video that I shot were all white. So now I have to reshoot and put some people of color in there. So
Cycling
Oh
is
my
so
God.
racist.
there you go.
So they
So
were just
how do you
typical
cast
people
that?
weren't riding
I
bikes.
don't know.
Do you walk up to someone and just be like, "Hey, I need a black guy. Can you get in here?"
Don't say it like
I
that,
need
though.
a
That
black
sounds
guy
like
in
you need it from
cycling
someone
shorts.
else.
We need to round up some blacks and fast.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
It's funny though, because I don't. Anytime I ever see people cycling around like where I live, it's always annoying white people. So
Yeah, it's
you
what it is.
captured that perfectly.
Yeah, especially in
Absolutely.
London. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
well, very rare you see a black guy on a bike, unless it's a motorbike, of course. But yeah, it's and we're talking about push bikes, obviously. But it's
Or
just
several
it's ridiculous.
sizes too small.
But you know what? I'm just like Filoni. I don't give a shit. They're paying me more money, so I don't
It's
care.
funny because you said it's in London. I just have this vision of like those bikes with the giant wheel in the front with the tiny wheel in the
Oh,
back.
for
for
fuck's
fuck's
sake.
sake. You're talking about a prisoner.
With
And
monocles.
ironically,
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
drama teacher in middle school who rode to school on it was a penny farthing tricycle,
Yeah. Oh my God.
just because that was she was eccentric and yeah, like she wore ultra high heels during sports day on the field.
Fabulous.
Did
Love
she
her
fuck her
already.
students too?
Oh, for God's sakes, Vex! What is wrong with you?
A
Ask him to talk
gentleman,
questions.
there are some things a gentleman just won't discuss.
Oh dear.
There you
But
go.
a whore, on the other hand, will.
Oh, God.
Fucking A.
Ah, well, never mind.
So I wouldn't even bother putting in for that remonetization, that like appeal, because Vex is shot over that.
Oh, it's gone now.
It's gone. You're gonna have to cut out the second half of the show at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm an
Ghost, you won't
ESG
monetize
check
it.
mark though.
This is a great podcast, by the way. Yeah, you got two ESGs here. You got a Filipino and we got two persons of color.
That's
here.
right.
That's right.
That's right. You know, Vex, you go to your bathroom.
Jeju.
Bar of soap. Wash your mouth out, mate. That's what you should do.
Oh my God, they just shot
Technically, I'm the descendant of a Native American chieftain. We can check that one off. So
Wow.
white
Yeah,
as
yeah.
shit, but yeah.
I'm a bisexual cartoon, so we've got that ticked. So really, it's just the movie cynic who.
I'm
Ought
just
really
a
to be
white
kicked off.
straight American. I'm sorry. I'm fucking.
He used to
bored.
check
Get
off
out
the
of
blue hair
here.
box.
Boo.
That's right. I did have blue hair as an SJW. That is
He
true.
did. He did.
I'll bring
Unfortunately,
it
it's
back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Get out.
I
of here.
don't know. God, life is changing so fast, isn't it? It really is.
What was the Ferris Bueller quote?
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could
can
miss it. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Or if it's Vex, fuck off.
Fuck yourself.
Fuck off. What else are we supposed to talk about? Come on, Little Platoon.
I
I did have
believe
Harry
the final
Potter.
thing is Harry Potter, because they've HBO is rebooting the Harry Potter series, which only ended, is it 12 years ago? When did the last Harry Potter film come out?
10 years ago? 2012?
I was in it.
Yeah, but
There we go.
Were you
there you
actually
go.
Lee was in it, yeah. He was in the background.
doing
I
what?
was in the I was in the last shot in camera as it faded to
We're just
black.
like need British people. Like,
He's the one he's the one all the children were running away from.
Yeah.
That's the
There you
one.
go.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you were the snake in the bathroom then, right? Is that it?
Hell yeah. Don't tell anyone.
Oh,
I don't like bragging,
Oh
but you know.
no!
Oh God, is Harry Potter going to be black then? Is that
Well-
what it's leading to?
Hermione
So-
will
so-
definitely.
Hermione, yeah, I think.
Well, no,
so.
because I'm thinking it's Ron, because Ron's ginger, and ginger
yeah.
ginger genocide is a real
Genocide,
thing.
yes.
Redhead
course,
replacement,
of
all the rest of
course.
that. So Ron will be except for the fact that J.K. Rowling is apparently attached as kind of creative consultant / she has the final say. So she's making
Yeah.
sure that they're not going to deviate massively from the law as she's established it. Only she is allowed to randomly get drunk and go on Twitter and say that Dumbledore was gay all along, but nobody else is allowed to do that. So maybe we won't get huge changes. My major problem with it is that I don't think we should be allowed to reboot things that successfully finished less than 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Why do
I
we
agree.
need this already?
I think just
I mean,
a regular Harry Potter show where they explore the lore a lot more would be far more sufficient than just rebooting that original story again.
Yeah,
I think they did I only read up to book 4, but when I watched up to movie 4, I was like, these are pretty solid adaptations of the story. Like, no one needs to bother remaking this or redoing this.
I was super confused too. I thought they were remaking like the movies, and then 2 days ago I read that they're turning it into a TV series for HBO Max.
From the books, they're exploring the books. Apparently, because I haven't read the books, but apparently there's a lot of stuff that was missing in the movies. That they want
Oh yeah,
to
there's a ton of stuff.
expand
That's
Yeah,
why
there's a
it would work
ton.
if they just explored that in a series rather than rebooting the whole thing, right? But trans wizards, here we come, I guess.
Oh, it's
No,
really happening.
that's
Well,
not going to happen.
with that potion, what is it? What's the one that they can change you into whatever form you want?
Polyjuice potion.
Is that Polyjuice? Yeah, sorry, I'm not a huge Harry Potter person.
Yeah.
I'm not
But yeah.
either.
But yeah, I mean, technically, you could be whatever you want. You could be trans species. It doesn't matter at that point.
Oh, actually-
Vagioplasticus.
She's still super liberal though, J.K. Rowling. So hold on, she's not against the trans stuff when it starts to infringe on women's rights, but she's still okay with trans people. So there's a very good chance that this will still be a woke adaptation.
Well, they did that in Hogwarts Legacy. There was the trans character who owns not the pub, but the
But
part
this
of the
was
place in-
Hogwarts Legacy was from her world, but it was a completely separate story and everything like that. So she had no
Yeah.
creative input, right? So they could really freely do whatever they wanted.
She
but
didn't have creative input, but she has an iron sort of fist around her properties.
Not for
so-
Hogwarts Legacy.
Does she
for
not have any
Hogwarts
input
Legacy.
at all? Oh.
No.
Yeah.
She was
She
always
wasn't the one who
always
came up with the anti-trans staircases, the ones that if you try to go up the wrong, it just drops you off.
She was always
Yeah,
on
I
set.
noticed.
I will say she was always around when we were filming. So she does take a great interest in what's actually happening. She's always
The
good.
films were her babies. I mean, she was the one
Yeah.
who had the ultimate say on casting, on directors. She wanted it to be as English and British as it possibly could. So she didn't want someone like Steven Spielberg to come in and direct because she wanted it to be as English as it possibly could be. For someone who lives in Scotland, that's a nice thing. But she is. It's one of the paradoxes of J.K. Rowling is that she was held up. She was always quite quiet on politics, but her politics were quite well known. She was held up as the doyen of kind of professional upper middle class liberal feminism for a very long time. It's only recently that she's fallen foul of the much more radical progressive wing of this. She hasn't changed the rest of her beliefs. She's still, relatively speaking, a left winger. It's just that she clings to this quaint old fashioned idea that there are sort of two sexes and that biology exists, and so it's unfortunate for her that she's got in trouble because of that. But any show in which she has creative control is not above making changes to characters in order to better fit the times in which we live. I mean, she did the whole thing with Dumbledore herself. It was she who decided on Twitter that Dumbledore was gay all along. Not that it really changes the story, but that was I think quite a transparent bid to make her creation more of a piece with the politics of the day, and that's just come back to bite her in the arse.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if she has trans characters in there or gay characters in there, as long as it doesn't impede on the story. You know what I
Yes.
mean? As long as the story is consistent and tells a, has a beginning, middle, and an end, without the nonsense, in it. So that's what I think.
Princess
What are you
Fiona.
laughing at?
Princess Fiona's comment just got.
Oh, there we go.
Which one? The last one? This one?
You don't like fucking in the toilet, Princess Fiona?
Oh, Jordan Bennett, Vex.
So this stream is going to go on my second channel to try to get that one monetized.
Yeah, I was
This one's
gonna say,
going private right after.
we are at the point where if the monetization was a corpse, this video is just like free shots to the head already. When
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a bar of soap for Christmas, Vex.
We're a Gavin McGuinness like short of a Full House, I think.
I really gotta pee. I could pull it out right now. There you go.
Oh dear.
On the desk, like a pro.
Yeah. I never liked Harry Potter. I've got on it.
Yeah.
I couldn't relate to them. No disrespect to you, Ben.
Is it
but
because they're white?
They were too posh to me. They were too posh for me.
The dude
They really
lived
were,
under a
yeah.
staircase in a closet. How is that posh?
No, you don't understand. You don't understand the accent. If he was a working class, he would not have that accent.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
So, there
But
you go.
it is. I mean, George Orwell wrote an entire essay about the allure and the appeal of this very sort of upper middle class public school visage, and like all the old boys' own stories that were set in public schools, which back in the day when they were written quite well, working class kids would read them aspirationally. This is a world in which we would like to live.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I mean, I enjoyed Harry Potter personally. I'm not the biggest fan in the world, but I still quite enjoyed them. But I think that there is definitely that element to them, which is that they are very, very much a upper middle class person's idea of what school days should be. And it's so very, very far removed from the actual experience, even of the schools I went to, that the appeal of it, I think, exists because it does capture some of that that aspiration to transcend the background that you come from, that everyone gets this essentially English boarding school upbringing, but it doesn't do it quite as well as the old stuff that George Orwell was critiquing did. And so it's not as universal as equivalent works back in the day might have been. But I think, that part of its lingering appeal is that J.K. Rowling basically set out to do two things. She wanted to tell the good old-fashioned public school story, and she also wanted to tell the good old-fashioned Agatha Christie-style detective story. And I've been rereading some of the Harry Potter stuff after playing Hogwarts Legacy, and every single book is essentially a detective story. And it's no coincidence that now she's gone on to do other things, they are also detective stories. So she's well-versed in a very sort of prim and proper tradition of English literature in the sort of the Agatha Christie mold, and she's managed to modernize it to a degree which enables her success. But I'm kind of with you in the sense that I think, you know, people growing up in inner city London, for example, will not have anything at all in common and won't even have frames of reference that are in common with the main characters in the Harry Potter stories. So whether they lose their appeal over time, they haven't yet, but whether they do in the long run will be interesting to see.
Well, it's the books, isn't it? Because a lot of people read the books, and so they connected to the film. Even if you're not of that class, there were, you know, a lot. I mean, even I read the first 2 books. Do you know what I mean? And I'm working class, so you know, and I liked the first 2 books. But the thing is, though, the thing that really put me off was the acting in Harry Potter 1. The acting was so awful. It just put me off. Yeah.
The thing is, though, it doesn't get better. They actually, in a way, they get worse, and that's bad. When Alan Rickman's diaries were published a few months ago, and even he was pretty scathing of the acting abilities of the 3 kid characters.
Oh, damn! Really?
Yeah. He said it was Emma Watson in particular. He was quite
Stupid cunt, anyways. So that one makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, can confirm. Yeah. I would much rather.
She's stupid, or she's a cunt, or both.
Oh Jesus!
don't get me into all kinds of hell. But
to
anyway.
be honest, the fact that
I mean, you're the one who brought up that you were in the movie. You just knew these questions were going to show up. Like, if I were you, I would be like, I have no idea.
I also signed an NDA. But anyway, no, I would much rather see a adaptation of the Books of Magic. You know, the comic books
of Magic,
like Magic the Gathering.
Game and one, right?
No. The Books of Magic. It was a lot of people back in the day thought that the similarities between the Books of Magic and Harry Potter were more than just coincidence, because there's an awful lot of very similar things in those stories.
What are you laughing at?
What are you doing?
Brittany just texted me from the living room and said Vex is throwing around cunts like it's her job.
She was polite. She spelled it Q-U-N-T.
Oh, good.
No,
I don't know. I mean,
Magic. That would make a great series.
You reckon?
It was Grant Morrison who, I think, was it Grant Morrison who wrote?
I think so.
Wait, let me see.
But Harry, I don't know. I met Radcliffe. Radcliffe was a nice guy. I haven't met what's her name, Emma Watson. But you know, I mean, I couldn't connect with the kids. That was my problem. When I was watching the film.
I don't think anybody wanted you to connect with kids.
You know what I mean. Stop it.
Man, I really like this little boy.
So I've got a couple of Alan Rickman's more select lines of the kids. So the first one is, they don't know their lines, and Emma's diction is this side of Albania at times. On Daniel Radcliffe, the third film, he's so concentrated now, he's serious and focused, but with a sense of fun. I still don't think he's really an actor, but he will undoubtedly direct or produce. He wasn't all that complimentary.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't that far off either. I mean, like he disappeared for a while. He had to establish his acting career and relearn. So he wasn't too. I don't think he's gonna go the production or direction route really, but there was definitely some acting that needed to be learned there. So that was pretty accurate.
Out of the 3, though, he got stronger performance wise, in my opinion.
Because everything else I've seen him in, he does pretty well. He's got a range now compared to the Harry Potter days.
I thought it was by the 4th or 5th movie. He said he was fucking drunk every scene that you see him in. Yeah.
Look,
but did you see that comedian that compared Harry Potter to Star Wars? The comedian says Harry Potter is a big rip-off of Star Wars. Because
how so?
So basically, if you go through it, Luke Skywalker was an orphan, so was Harry Potter, right? Luke Skywalker met someone with a beard that taught him something.
He met someone with a beard?
Wow, weird.
And Harry Potter met that big fat guy with a beard,
Hagrid.
Right? Hagrid, right?
Dumbledore also.
There's 4 dudes that teach him that. Yeah.
No, but then Dumbledore is Yoda, isn't he? So he meets Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Then he meets Yoda, and so he went through the whole thing. and it was just a copy of Star Wars all the way through.
I mean, but you can say that about a lot of franchises because all of them have
He was
like.
joking, obviously.
Yeah.
You can go back and say like so many things were like picked from the Bible too. That doesn't mean that it's like
Yeah.
But there's similarities between Harry Potter and Books of Magic. If you actually Google the similarities, I think there was an attempted court case over that. There was some sort of impropriety with the intellectual properties, and I think it didn't go anywhere. But
I can see why it worked though. I can see why Harry Potter worked though, because there's a lot of nice stuff in there, like the station. Was it 3/4, whatever it's called, and running your thing through the wall and stuff like that, and the magic, and and I could see why it worked, but I just got bored with it.
Me too. I don't understand the Harry Potter fascination. I think everyone who's really into it is autistic. So,
and how can they sit on those brooms?
Okay,
those brooms are so thin. How
I
can they
was-
sit on those things? I just don't understand how they can sit on them without injuring themselves.
They have little seats and saddles on them, I think.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually do.
Wait.
Yeah,
Oh, really? I
What?
did not know that.
the brooms have like
Yeah.
stirrups and stuff on them.
Oh,
so-
really?
Well, maybe for the Quidditch World Cup, but I'm pretty sure not at Hogwarts. Do they pass around brooms with saddles on them?
Can I just
No,
say I
it's
was
just imaginary.
temporarily?
They're just British
Oh,
tight
okay.
asses. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. So does that mean I'm temporarily retarded because I like Harry Potter?
just a
and I
little
watch
bit,
it?
but you should know there's a range for autism. So
Oh, there's
you might
a
be
spectrum.
okay.
It's called a
and
spectrum.
You might be raging retarded. So you're good either way.
Okay,
This
I
just
have
in
to
another
read it.
text.
we go.
Brittany has autism because she likes Harry Potter. She said.
I also do, but then I already knew I was retarded, so that's all fine.
Vex is giving me autism as we speak.
I mean, I would just like to point out that being from the United States, they had to change the name of the first book because they thought we were all too retarded to know
They
what the
did.
Philosopher's Stone was.
Yeah, we
so it had to become the
Sorcerer's,
Sorcerer's
Really?
Stone.
What name?
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
they-
philosopher from philosopher to sorcerer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the United States, it's called the
Oh.
Sorcerer's Stone because we're stupid.
Well,
So-
we had to get the Avengers Assemble down here because there was a TV show and a film called The Avengers before. So there you go.
Oh,
And you
Yes,
guys
yeah,
aren't
that-
smart enough to differentiate.
When I was a
apparently?
kid, I was
Yeah.
very disappointed when I
No,
saw
we
it.
were dumb, apparently. So there you go.
Well, my favorite one was that when there was Bill Clinton's presidency, I think it was, and there was a glowing biography of him written. I know that's what reminded me, right? There was a glowing
It's got
review
stains on
there was a glowing review written of him by a favorable American journalist, I think, called "The President We Deserve," and it was all about how brilliant Bill Clinton was. And some quite witty and wry British person who didn't like Bill Clinton renamed the British version "The President They Deserve." 'Cause-
Wow. Damn.
They put a lot of thought into that one.
Oh yes.
What part of America are you from, Dark Hour?
I am from the great state of New Jersey, and yes, that's,
I've been to New Jersey.
and
That sounds promising.
Vex very
Well traveled.
What's that?
I mean, I don't. If I was you, that wouldn't have been where I would have went. But
No, I had. Well, there was a festival
it was
there, a
very
film
close
festival.
to New York, so you were just like,
Yeah. I did go to New York as well, but yeah, it was a festival. I had to go to this festival, and it was in New Jersey. So there you go. But I think it's a nice place. It's clean.
The further away from New York you get, the better it is.
All right.
I
Okay.
was actually at one time I was on a train. It was a guy who came from China, and I actually had he had no idea where he was supposed to be, and I was like doing Google Translate on my phone, and he like looked at me, and we were like right outside of like the ghettoist section of New Jersey. He looked outside the train and went, "New Jersey's beautiful," and I just stared at him for a good like, I was like, what?
Probably compared to where he's from.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah,
didn't put two
yeah.
and two together at the time, but yeah, it was very. But yeah, there's certain sections of it that are quite nice, but the closer you get to New York City, it tends to be really
Yeah.
packed and condensed. And
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I kind of liked it. You should come to London one day.
I live here, so I have. But I'd love to go to London. That's on the list.
On the list.
Yeah, you missed the best times.
Oh, yes.
It's not so great anymore. It's
Okay,
it's
I
pretty
won't
dire.
go then. I don't know what to tell you.
wait for the revolution. There you
It's
go.
not like England. Let's put it that way.
Al, next time I go to Toronto, I'm going to look you up, Vex, and give you some soap
She
for that
won't be
mouth
there.
of yours.
I'm not going to come to Toronto though because Toronto is a cesspool of a city. So
Oh, okay. All right.
RRTNZ, yes, the it is called the Garden State because they can't put industrial waste state on the license plate. Doesn't work.
So on the Harry Potter point then, is there anything that anyone is looking forward to or can see a reason to defend the show for? Like, do we need it? And what will we hope?
Just to see her upset a whole bunch of people on
yeah,
Twitter.
that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
the
some-
only reason.
I saw a comment on Twitter. I don't know how true it is. Like, is it somebody like made a massive guess that she's just rebooting because all her actors and actresses threw her under the bus because of her anti-trans rhetoric, and
Dude, that would be hilarious.
I mean,
I think it's just they need money, and Harry Potter sells.
yeah, that's
if I had
also
the
true.
money to reboot it just to spite people, I would do it.
Yeah.
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 I don't.
I would
Is
do.
she rebooting it, or is Warner Brothers and HBO rebooting it?
Well, it's partly Universal. So it's Universal and Warner, and Universal I think also has the Harry Potter land thing. It's one of their theme
They
park
do, yeah.
things. So it's like the Mario thing. Universal's making these big investments in its theme parks.
Yeah,
so it
and
wants to
honestly,
try and...
every time I've been to Universal, the Harry Potter world is like it doesn't matter what time of day you go, what day of the week, it's jam packed in Orlando.
Yes.
So Harry Potter makes money, and that's like it would have happened at some point regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of studios are beginning to realize that only big budget event movies make money in the cinema. So I guess it makes sense to bring it back, I guess, so they can make some money. So
It does. I mean, and then you get that broader point, which is that Disney is experiencing huge trouble at the moment, and its theme parks are dragging, and they're not doing very well. And Universal does seem to be making this quite concerted attempt to supplant Disney as sort of the premier theme park. So it's not really coincidental or anything that you get the Mario movie, which comes out. I mean, Paul Chatter was saying this on the stream last week. The Mario movie comes out, and they're investing in the Mario theme park ride, whatever the hell you call them, and then Harry Potter's probably being rebooted as well because Harry Potter is also getting a huge amount of investment in the theme park side of things, and it's important for them to keep hold of the rights and to keep producing the content. So why wouldn't they do that? That there's a sound financial motive for them to do it, but sound financial motives don't always mean that there's a good artistic motive behind something.
I did like, you know what? I did like the creatures one they did. I can't remember what it's called now.
Fantastic Beasts.
The first one, only the first one. I saw the
Fantastic
first
Beasts
one.
and How to
Yeah.
Find Them.
And I thought it was okay. I thought it was, it was very well made. Very, very
was in
well
that.
made. Sorry?
How did the
You were in
I
that
was in
too.
that one.
Oh, you named
what were you? Were you a Fantastic Beast?
He was.
He was the snake.
I-
He was the snake again
I
in the
I don't
bathroom.
like to brag. No, I was a photographer in the first one. In the second one, I was I don't know why they cast me as they did, but I was cast as some sort of fascist wizard for some reason. I don't know. They gave me the
What does a
uniform.
fascist wizard do? Do you have a
Well, I
wand
had like
still?
I had a
No,
have
they,
a
they have a, they have a machine gun.
I was right
He
next
refuses,
to Eddie Redmayne, and during break, he went off to get a coffee, and he came back, and I said, "Where's mine? Where's my latte?" And he went, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry." I said, "I'm joking. I'm joking. You're Eddie Redmayne. I'm a nobody. Like, you the chill. It's fine."
And then they
It's
called him
really
a fascist.
But
Yeah.
I did like it because I liked the idea that character never cared about any human. He only cared about the creatures that he was trying to collect and stuff like that. He honestly didn't care about any human at all. You could see the way he treated everybody and stuff. Not with a strong hand, but just subtly, you can tell that he didn't really care about humans. He cared more
Yeah.
about the. It's true. I mean, if you look at it. Unfortunately, I look at films too deeply, and that's what I saw in that movie. It was a bit slow moving, but I enjoyed that one. The second one was absolute nonsense, and the third one was just even more shitter than the last one. So, but the first one was okay. I found, I don't know what you guys thought of it.
Question:
I was
How
just
did
laughing
the
at that
other?
comment about the Aryan Brotherhood tats? I just
There's 3 Fantastic Beasts movies, right?
Yeah.
So, because Johnny Depp had a role in
Yes.
one of them. So
Two,
how
I
did they
think.
perform after they got rid of him?
It was Miles Mickelson took
Mads
over.
Mikkelsen.
Mads
Yeah.
Mikkelsen.
But I mean, like
Who-
financially, was there a blowback for doing that? Because a lot of people started
Yeah, I think
boycotting
so.
stuff because Depp
Yeah.
got dropped.
I think the last one didn't make as much money, and the second one didn't make as much money as the first one. I'm not sure though.
The third one underperformed to the point where they're not going to,
Yeah.
most likely not going to
Yeah.
continue the series.
Yeah.
I think it was a mix of things, though. I don't think it was specifically because of the debt blowback.
But it was a contributing factor, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. But they're also just middling films. Like, they're not good.
Yeah.
I remember
No.
sitting down trying to watch the first one. I just turned that shit off. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm getting to 2 and 3. Just
I don't know. As I said, the second one and third one was absolute nonsense. But the first one, I don't know. There was something about it that I just kept watching. You know, I don't know. I don't know how to
It
describe
certainly
it.
wasn't a terrible film by any measure, and I think it's a shame as well because I think Mads Mikkelsen does a better job of Grindelwald's character than Johnny Depp did. Mads Mikkelsen is probably a better actor than
I
Johnny
think he's
Depp.
better.
I think
just
he's a
he's a better
phenomenal
actor.
Yeah. But I will always love him for Hannibal. So I'm
Yeah, he's
biased,
good in
but
Hannibal. Yeah.
Fantastic in Hannibal.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's a shame. I think he's the person they really probably should have cast at the outset. And, you know, there's a Star Wars link there as well, which is that he's probably the ideal person to play a character like Grand Admiral Thrawn, but they've already used him in Rogue One, so they can't use him again. They're talking about using his brother instead, which is not optimal. No, Fantastic Beasts, though. Fantastic Beasts was just kind of, it existed, and it was there, and it wasn't terrible. The first one in particular was kind of inventive. It summoned some of the magic back. I do think it does suffer for the lack of that sort of the hinging set piece, which is the school. I think it loses some of the charm, and obviously posthumously Ezra Miller is in it. So no, that's the wrong way of putting it. He's not dead. After the fact that Ezra Miller is in it probably sways opinions about the films maybe a little bit more than they should. But it wasn't terrible. It was just a bit too generic, I think, for a Harry Potter.
I think the reason why it didn't work is because I never read the book. Apparently, it follows the book very carefully, and everybody knows that if a book is too long and too slow, because you have to make it into a movie. If Spielberg directed Jaws just like the book, it would have flopped because there were so many stories in there. So he kind of squished it all into one, shot the most important things in Jaws, and made that film work. And that's what they needed for this. They needed to get a director in that would just strip that story down to the core and shoot the core of what the whole thing was about. But they didn't. They just followed it page by page. Well, that's what I was told anyway. And I think that's the reason why, because it's slow. It's really slow.
I mean, that's why I stopped watching. It was just boring. And I caught it way too late. Like, I didn't watch it when it first came out or anything. So
nor did I.
Yeah, I started trying to watch it last year. So that's like way too late.
But the special effects are really, really good in that film, and the set pieces and I don't know. I it was slow, but somehow I just kept watching it. I don't know. But that's
so
just
the hope
me.
of it getting better, I think, was what you were.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else?
As far as topics, I think
I'm sure
those were
Vex
the
has
three.
got another cunt in her, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
Vex, how many cunts do you have?
No comment.
There was an OnlyFans model that said that she has 2 vaginas, one for her boyfriend, one for everyone else.
I did. Yeah, one's for porn,
What?
one's for her boyfriend.
Yep.
Yep. I did see that.
Yep.
That's magic, right? That's the real magic.
I did see an interesting article today based on Sandra Bullock saying that she was allegedly almost cast as Wonder Woman in the DC universe.
Yeah, she was.
What?
She was.
When?
Really?
Like recently?
Yeah, like
in this current iteration of Wonder Woman.
in
not
this
like
current
in the
iteration
90s?
of Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Yeah, she was, and also people seem to forget she was the Bionic Woman as well. A long time ago, she was cast as the Bionic Woman, and she actually did a pilot, and it was on TV and everything.
She's way too old now, though,
Yeah,
to
she's
be doing this
definitely too
modern
old.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that would
Ages.
not have worked if she was
20 years ago, for sure. I think she
Yeah,
would have
if
been
it
a
was
great
like a
Wonder Woman.
90s one when she was not plastic surgery incarnate. But well, that's
It's not
interesting.
plastic surgery; it's baby foreskins. That's what she's using.
What?
Just getting that.
she
shit
she
injected
went
into her
on
face.
Ellen DeGeneres like 4 or 5 years ago, and she admitted like the reason I stay so youthful is that I use this like cream and like procedure that uses baby foreskins.
No.
Yeah,
I think
No.
that
To her
noise about
youth,
sounded
guys.
up. Let's pump it up.
I like her.
I don't mind her. I don't mind
This is a
her at
good time
all.
to say
But she's
that.
clearly
I like
fucking
her.
weird.
She is actually. She a lot. I know a few people that know her personally, and they say she is the most. She doesn't clean very well. Do you know what I mean? Of like
There's
her
a lot of
bedroom's like a
celebrities
pit
like
and stuff
that,
like
though.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you see is not.
Sorry,
what
she
she's
doesn't
really like.
clean very well.
Yeah. In other words, her place is a bit of a mess because she likes bikers, doesn't she? She likes teaming up with hairy people and stuff like that. So, do you know what I mean? Her
She
first
likes
husband was
teaming
a
up with
biker,
hairy
right?
people.
Yeah, her first husband was a biker, right? She got married to a biker, right? This guy.
Oh, yeah,
Jesse-
it was Jesse James or whatever.
There we
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
yeah.
there you go. There you go.
It was the guy. Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
She dresses up for TV, but when she's at home, she's just doesn't care basically.
Which
Doesn't
is
even-
weird because
doesn't
she's
even
got
wash up
a
and
little
that.
African child there now. So shouldn't she
Has
be
she?
keeping her house clean?
I don't know.
Yeah, because she adopted a kid, right? Because she's like, oh, I can't find a man. Oh, they all cheat on me. So she adopted an African boy, and now she's a single mom that uses baby foreskin on her face.
What the? What the?
Can I
fuck?
just
I'm
say,
so glad to
Hollywood
see
is fucking weird.
Very
Yep.
weird.
Can we change
weird.
the topic?
Yeah.
This made me
I have zero opinion on baby foreskins, so I'm just gonna check out for now.
Oh,
Well, there's some kind of joke to be made about the Jews controlling Hollywood, but I think that would be...
We'll skip that
Go
one.
on, please.
No, it's fine. We've established that Sandra doesn't wash her bullocks very much, and we can move on from that one.
That was great. That was fantastic.
I'm traumatized.
You want to get to super chats?
I think it's probably about time.
It's probably about time.
Yeah.
If everyone wants
Super
to stick around,
chat.
you're more than welcome to. But we're gonna go. We're gonna proceed. I will start with Mr. Let's see. There's so many people on here. It takes forever for it to like minimize. Harry, is it Harry Yeager? Did I say it right? For 5 fake monies. Tea or
Euros.
something for tea or something for mental health after watching those.
Euros? Is that like pesos?
Euros is a
Oh,
legitimate.
That is a quote from a movie. So,
It's the thing you play with when you play Monopoly. Everyone knows
That's
that.
right.
Is
That's
that real money? Yeah.
It's not real
Fake
money.
Thank you, Harry. Much appreciated, man.
I mean, just shat all over your currency. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
it. That's great.
That's okay because when it comes in on your channel, you call us fake. That's Americans. Your fake time. Whenever I'm trying to tell you the correct time, Central Time. Central Time, baby.
We
Wait, Mum,
literally
you're only-
invented time.
technically, it's tomorrow for him. So
Do you guys get this money then?
Eh.
Since it's been done, your channel's been.
Tyler Wolf, I've streamed with him before. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
Tyler
awesome.
Wolf I always like to mix up the currencies too. For a California 220. There you are,
That's
Dark Hour.
Canadian.
It might as well be California 220. It's fucking useless.
That's a toonie.
Yeah, it's
Dude.
toonie.
Toonie.
You're right.
Oh, thanks,
Doesn't smell
Tyler.
like maple
Appreciate
though.
Make believe.
that. Make believe.
But
Oh,
Hackathon does.
when you guys send in more super chats while I'm reading super chats, I might miss the super chats. KJR18 for not $20. First time catching one of these live. Very nice. Very nice.
Is that North Korean currency? What is?
No
what-
fucking
I
way.
was wondering what knock was.
Let's
Norwegian
see.
kroner.
I'm gonna say
I
that's
don't know.
that is definitely the
I
most.
don't know.
I need to look this up.
Corona.
An okay
Norwegian koruna.
currency
Yeah.
is
They
Norwegian
somehow got
kroner.
out of
Norwegian
Korean
krone.
currency.
No
Norwegian.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Norwegian Corona. Who said
First
that?
time
didn't know.
catching is very nice. He must have got it. He must have came on before Vex started mouthing off.
Mr. Talk About It for $1.99. Air was fantastic. Best of the year so far. Yeah, man. I actually am meaning to go see that. That was good counter programming to Mario. I heard really great things when I saw the trailer. I was pretty excited. Have you guys heard of that one?
I have,
the-
yes.
Yeah, that's the one where they decided it was a movie about the making of a sneaker was more interesting than the actual player it was about.
Only
Yeah,
with the electronic
which
band,
I'm happy
so-
about because whenever you do that, it's typically fucking bad.
It's culturally relevant though. I actually would I think it's more appropriate to make it on the shoe. Do you know how long like kids in high school go to wait outside for a new Air Jordan drop just so they can make money off of it?
No,
I
it
think
is,
it's-
it's-
I worked in a mall. Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah,
It is.
I
It
think
is super interesting. It's like
Yeah.
I remember thinking when Moneyball came out with Brad Pitt, and I was like, "I'm gonna fucking make a movie about baseball analytics," and then it was really good. And
That's
It
the
was
only
good.
baseball movie I
It
like.
There's also the one Draft Day, where it was like literally just about the NFL draft and like trading picks with was it Kevin Costner, I believe, was in that?
Yeah, Kevin
Yeah.
Costner.
That was actually a pretty good movie, and it had nothing to do with actual football. It was just about
Yeah.
the day to day, the day of draft stuff.
I think it might have been the Chicago Police Department. It was one of the larger American cities got in trouble because they did a sting operation where they left a lorry loaded with new Nike trainers unlocked in the middle of a street and just waited for a crowd to try and break it open and steal everything, and then arrested everyone who did it. And then they were inevitably accused of racism because of the results. But
That's called entrapment. That's called entrapment. They can't do that.
That
It's not
sounds like a Chicago
entrapment.
thing, though.
Entrapment.
It does sound like a very Chicago.
I watch loads of cop movies.
entrapment, no,
Entrapment.
entrapment is saying, hey, how about you go and do this crime? Leaving an unlocked lorry in the middle of a street is not entrapment. That's just like, you should be allowed to do that. They just anticipated that they would be robbed. Yeah,
see.
it was a curious crime fighting strategy.
Dear, oh dear.
I can read this name, Jonathan Frost, for $5. Thank
He's
you.
a good poet.
There's chat on the Burb app saying people don't know why Donkey Kong is in the movie. I feel old. What's the Burb app?
Bird
Am I
app,
old?
Twitter.
Twitter.
Oh, I got it.
Bird app.
Bird app. Oh, I got you.
Basing
The
a cutesy
Flappy
bird.
Bird act. Yeah. But Donkey Kong. He came from Donkey Kong though.
Most people
Yeah.
don't know that though.
Right,
Oh,
right.
Yeah, but Donkey Kong is in Smash Brothers. Donkey Kong has his own games. Donkey Kong's clearly a Nintendo property. I don't really
No, they
understand
know
why anyone
that. They
wouldn't
don't know that
gamble
Mario
that.
came from like Donkey Kong was first.
No,
what
that's
they don't
believable,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Used to throw barrels at him and all that
That's
stuff.
because we don't teach history. That was before I was born, but I know that.
Daniel for $2. Thank you. Force Awakens again. People will wake up later. That's what I said. That's what I said. I agree with you.
I woke up after I came out the bloody theatre, as you guys would say. So there you go.
RRTNZ, our good buddy from New Zealand, for $11. Thanks, man. Hail Cynic and Platoon. Glad I can listen in live for a change. Terrific assortment of guests. I agree. Darkhour and his great fight scene analyses, the quick-witted Vex, and the wonderfully dry problem being.
Well, what about me?
I think this is before you got on.
This
dude.
was before you and Weekend Warrior got here, so
Yeah.
so
Oh, I don't
make,
know.
make
I
up
don't
your
think it
own
would've been quick
compliments, and it'll be
It
fine.
would have been
A Mega
quick-witted.
Geek with his.
It
Gonna
would have
put
been
£5
quick-witted
from-
Vex. It would have been all about, CUNTs. So
See you next Tuesdays.
Me and
That's the
Weekend.
ones.
We've not even got mentioned. It's not good.
Yeah, it's fine, man. I'm good.
thank you.
Platoon, you want to read the next few?
Yes, from Simon Grindle for 5 real monies. Tragically, Mario is more useful as a mascot than a character. That is what the film thought. Definitely, it's not necessarily true, but
Could be right. He could be right.
I'll control them though. You read. I'll.
oh,
Control.
sorry. Did you want me to control
No,
them as well? Oh, no.
I got it. No, I got it. I got you.
Professional.
This is a team effort.
From Mr. Taco Bout It. It doesn't work when I do it in my accent for $4.99 in fake money. On the Star Wars stuff, why does anyone trust Disney? I love Mangold as a director, but under Disney, I don't know if he can deliver anything as good as FEF?
Ford
Or
versus
Logan?
Ferrari.
Ford,
yeah,
I see.
Logan, yeah.
Yeah, Logan is really fucking good. I missed Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out either.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a throwaway movie, and then all I hear about it is praise. So I was like,
It's a good
shit.
movie.
He also
Yeah.
did 310 to Yuma and
Oh,
Walk the
yeah.
Line as well, which are both
Yes.
good movies.
Yeah,
So
those
he's
were
given-
both.
if he's allowed to do something with it, like if he's allowed to be in charge, it could be a great movie. Problem is
Yeah.
that's not going to be what happens.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
is he
he
the
is-
person who's landed the short straw of, if you can land the short straw of directing Indiana Jones 5?
Yes.
That
Yes.
poor
Yeah.
bastard.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing to him what they did to Ron Howard, but solo, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Just
been through
sticking
everyone else. Please try and fix this mess for us, and you will take the blame.
Poor bastard.
But you'll get a Star Wars film, so there's always that.
Hey! I got mentioned!
Also, I can confirm that when Ron Howard did take over, he was on such a tight schedule. He was a professional. He went through it like nobody's business. It's like, okay, scene, do it, bam, done, move on, next.
That's why it was so
Had to.
bad.
Yeah, but he had to. But he did the best he could.
Is the consensus with Solo, again, as a not like super fan like I am with the horror genre and superheroes and stuff, I kind of feel like the cultural opinion on Solo, the cultural opinion on Solo is like, it's actually a pretty decent movie. It's just like people were so burned. No, I don't know.
No,
it sucks.
It wasn't.
It happened was pretty much the general consensus.
Okay.
I was cut out of it,
People
so I
walked
don't
out and was
care.
like, that was a movie.
It's not
Fair
as
enough.
bad as some of the critics said that it was, but it's also not a good film. I mean, this is the one
enough.
that introduces Lando being bisexual for robots. So it's,
yeah, he's a robosexual.
well, specifically, yeah, robosexual and feminist robots at that who lead feminist revolutions to free the droids from patriarchal tyranny. I mean, it's not a good film by any means, but it's not abysmal. Disney has done worse than Solo. It's
also
not the
that
Star Wars film that deserved to lose money.
The worst thing they did in Solo was cast that guy. It was absolutely nothing like Harrison Ford, and didn't even capture the tone of Han Solo
And he had
at
the
all.
worst laugh ever.
Yeah,
This is
Really,
This is the
really. I don't know if you've ever heard him laugh in real life.
No.
Oh my God, it's ear grating. It's horrible.
it's cast because he.
It's like that. I'm not kidding.
Oh God.
This is the movie. This is the movie where you had to fucking explain Han Solo's name.
Yeah. Oh my
I have
God.
a little opinion
Oh
of
my
it. Like,
God.
it's a bad opinion of it, basically. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm getting some info. I like this.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch it again before I'd watch The Rise of Skywalker again.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, but it's also not great. Yeah, so you got the Han Solo gets his name because he happens to be on his own. We needed that information. We have the shower scene, naked shower scene with Chewie and Han. We wanted that as well. And the story of the dice that he has on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
That was incredibly vitally important information that we needed to have. So yeah,
That's one of my favorite backstory moments that has completely been botched by the fact that nobody talks to anybody at those studios. So they bring those dice. Somehow, Force Ghost brings the dice to Leia to put on, like, because they were on Han's ship, but they were given to him by his ex-girlfriend. Like, why? Like, it's such a weird. Like, nobody spoke to each other about that. They were just like, there's dice involved, make sure you get it and everything. Like,
It's stupid. And then
I'm
what is
trying
it?
to
The
think, what
12
else?
parsecs thing, that including it as well.
oh yeah,
I
we
was
got
like,
that,
oh, for
and
God's
also we
sakes.
got Darth Maul is still alive.
Yeah.
And he lights his lightsaber while he's essentially Skyping someone for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
remember Darth Maul?
in fairness, he had been
Remember?
revived in the cartoons already.
Yeah,
so,
definitely, yes.
yeah, so like
It was their abortive attempt to reintegrate him into a franchise, but unfortunately, The Last Jedi killed the franchise, so they did nothing with it.
how
Oh,
did
by
he
the way,
survive? How?
wasn't Freckle
He
Jesus
has-
in the film as well?
She is in the film. Freckle I think it's
Yeah.
one of Freckle Jesus' first depictions in Disney.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Freckle Jesus.
As the head of Infist Ness, or whatever they call
That's
it.
right. Yeah, she was in it. Here we
I
go.
don't get it.
I'm
Oh.
in now. Tyler Wolf for
going.
another California 550. Shin Ultraman is proof Japanese cinema is not woke, for better or worse.
Well, it's an incredibly anti-woke society. They, on their news programs, their equivalent of Fox News takes the piss out of American news programs' obsession with woke stuff. It's quite funny to watch. But a rapidly changing society, which is not necessarily to its benefit. The current prime minister, I think, is trying to relax. Japan has a famously very strict rule around immigration, for example, and it contributes to a fairly high degree of probably what you'd call latent racism. But, there are trade-offs to every policy, and he's trying to relax that. And you are starting to get the slight infection into Japanese politics of woke stuff. So news programs will still regularly take the piss out of it, but you are starting to get a society, particularly among younger Japanese who've not been allowed to emigrate and who want to because they've been restricted, of saying, well, this is obviously right. We want to be more like America and not less like America. And that's probably not to the long-term benefit of Japan. But Japanese cinema is successful, and manga is particularly successful because so far it's held out against the want to try and do the typical woke stuff in art.
Jegson Voorhees says, where can I watch this news channel?
Look it up on YouTube. I think you can find it like Japanese news program anti-woke. You'll probably find something.
Oh, him again. He seems to be following you guys around.
Hostman's
Yeah.
a mod.
Oh, is he? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll read this one. Hostman Socrates for $5 real dollars. Did you know the Japanese symbol for loud is 3 of the symbol for woman combined?
Seems right. Seems accurate.
Oh, that's
Proof is in the,
That's fantastic.
Proof is on the stream right here.
Nerdy Film Girl for $4.99. Thank you. I actually had a quick exchange with her real quick about Mario. I actually remember that the other day. Miyamoto, excuse me, the creator of Mario, also wanted the story
It's
to be
Miyamoto.
Is it Miyamoto? Oh, sorry. That's our American thing. I've always
No,
heard
I would have
Miyamoto.
pronounced it Miyamoto as well, so that's a you.
Really? I've always heard it Miyamoto. But I stand corrected.
I did get someone on our last stream talking about Mario. I got somebody criticizing different pronunciations of Mario because apparently it's Mario, and it's like, well, accents are a thing that exists, my friend.
Yeah,
so
in my 2-minute review, I said it both ways, and I like kicked myself in the ass afterwards. I was like, man, I screwed that up bad, and I can't go back and fix it.
Yeah,
It's
as
like
much as I love,
oregano.
as much as I love giving Platoon shit about stuff, when I heard Mario, I just let it roll. I just let it go.
because I was right, as I usually am, but you know.
But Miyamoto,
colonist.
I'm gonna say, fuck it. Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, also wanted the story to be as simple as possible, for better or worse. Nice to see Darkhour on the panel. We agree.
She's actually going to be on my stream tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Ooh,
Yes.
Nice.
Nerdy Film Girl.
Plug.
Nice plug.
They did, but then as I was talking about this in
me again.
the video I did prior to the stream, which is that, yeah, narratively, the Mario games are incredibly simple. Obviously, they are platform games. They're not supposed to be story-heavy things, but they used incredibly innovative storytelling devices to make the levels what they were. So it's the one I mentioned was Kisho Tenketsu, I think it is, which is that 4-act writing structure, but they applied it to level design, which is what makes the Mario games seem so distinctively Mario. It's not just generic platformer. There is actually complex narrative stuff going on, not for plot reasons, because it's a Mario game, but for the underlying level design stuff. They are using proper literary techniques and devices to actually make these things seem distinctive and innovative. And that's what makes it such a shame that the Mario movie comes out and it is just generic Western Hollywood Marvel-inspired cinema. It's just that there's no innovation going on there. So this film will not give rise to a great work of art in the same way as the original Mario game did, because the innovation simply isn't being replicated. And that's the problem when you say, well, why are we demanding anything of something that's made for kids? Well, because you want to see more great works of art, you fool. You have to actually demand things of your writers. Writers have to deploy innovative devices, even if you don't see them because they're under the hood. They actually do need to put some work and effort in to try and create something brand new. And if you simply say, we shouldn't ask anything of any movie that's even slightly appealing to kids, all you're really doing is saying, yeah, just give us slop at the bottom of the bucket. We don't really demand anything more than that. So you're not going to create anything more that's great. You won't create new Mario games from that mindset. Mario games are much more innovative than the film is, and that's one of the major criticisms of the film.
And that's a funny thing. I ran into someone defending it as like, well, it's a kid's movie. And I was like, okay, so like I shouldn't criticize it. Like, no, it's just a movie made for kids. All right, what's your rating of it? Oh, 8 out of 10. Oh, so it's not a perfect fucking score, so it's not above criticism.
Yeah.
So
but it's also, do you think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is better than any given shitty kids movie, like the what's the other thing that the creators of Mario did, the one with the little yellow people?
Minions.
Minions 3 or 4, whatever the hell they're up to now. Is Puss in Boots better than that?
No, nothing beats Minions.
No, exactly. Well, okay, you're wrong. Is Jurassic Park better than Jurassic World? Is Star Wars: A New Hope better than Star Wars: The Last Jedi? All of these comparisons, even within the domain of things which are occasionally said to be made for kids, you can understand that Shrek is better than Shrek 4. Toy Story is better than Toy Story 4. There are differences in quality, and you should really pay attention to what creates those differences in quality. Demand more of your art and you will be given better art. If you simply say, we don't care, it's made for kids, so anything goes, that's just an invitation to people to not even bother writing scripts, which is what happened with Mario.
But it's also saying that kids can't tell what a good story is just because
Yeah.
they're kids, which is a horrible thing that needs to go away, because kids can tell the difference between crap and not crap, or else there wouldn't be trends. Like, there wouldn't be a thing that every kid is into. It might not be by adult standards a great story, but even in their own, little I don't want to say spectrum, but their own little world, they can tell the difference between the better of the two stories, and the one will always succeed more because that's the one that the kids will want to go see more. And will want the merch for and stuff. So.
Shit, I pulled this up so long ago. Did I read this one already?
Did not.
No.
Okay. Kyle Posey for $4.99. Thanks, man. Awesome seeing Darkhour here. People love you, Darkhour. Love it.
I did do some advertising for this.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, cool.
But actually, Kyle was also, he was I brought him onto a stream as just a fan. He has he didn't have a channel or anything. And I had asked him if he wanted to be on, and he was a pretty cool guy.
Nice.
Wow, very generous. Nice.
So what you're saying is these are all your paid supporters, and you've
Yes.
flooded our stream.
If I had the money to just throw out there to have people pay for this,
Just paid shills. Platoon, you got the next ones. I'll still control it.
Rightio. Simon Grindle for 5 real money again. Tekken, Street Fighter, Metal Gear, Punch-Out, Fatal Fury, Persona 5, Bayonetta, and Mario's Brooklyn could all exist in the same world. Yeah, they could, which is what Smash Brothers tried to do when it told different stories in Brawl and in Ultimate. Both of those try and create this world in which all of these disparate properties can coexist, and did it with some success, it must be said.
Vex is raising her hand, everybody.
Sorry, you can
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go.
I was gonna say there's a Tekken, Street Fighter, and Metal Gear movies all in the works. So possibility.
Wow.
Metal Gear is like my all-time. That and Resident Evil are my all-time favorite video game IPs. I've given up on a good Resident Evil adaptation. After
You
3
didn't
attempts.
love Netflix's Resident Evil? What's wrong with you, idiot?
Watch that one.
Oh
But
my God,
I can only hope that for Metal Gear Solid, the best possible outcome is that it's not terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm worried about that one, but also
It could be
looking
so
forward to it.
good.
Yeah, it
But
really could be.
we are entering the new era where video game movie adaptations are going to be the next big meta. You've got is it World of Warcraft, which is Amazon is doing at the moment. We've got Mario obviously at the moment. We've got Metal Gear in the works. These are the next big property. Hollywood is attempting to subsume video games into its own sort of rapacious field of influence.
Sony has sold the IP rights to several of their franchises just to adapt as well. So, and yeah, Amazon is getting their hands in everything.
Yep. Watch out for Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they already don't have their hands in everything.
With the way these movies are going, it's almost like the early or late 90s, early 2000s push of superhero movies where they're like testing the waters, and then maybe in 5 or 6 years it's gonna be a fucking explosion.
Oh, there 100% is, because everything
Yeah.
that's in development right now for video games, in about 3 years, you're just going to see about 5 years of nonstop video game stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Yeah, like The Last of Us and Super Mario being successful. I think people are gonna exploit that piece of media now and put it in live action, which is weird because like Metal Gear feels like a movie already.
Yeah, well, that was always the thing with
Yeah.
Very
Kojima.
cinematic.
Kojima is the most frustrated film director of all time. That he's never directed a film, but
Yeah.
every single one of the games. And is it Twin Snakes, the obviously James Bond ripoff, which is really great fun as well for that reason. But you can do really fascinating sort of character-driven, very characterful things with these. And my worry is that we'll get more Mario, which is that Metal Gear, Kojima could direct a brilliant Metal Gear film.
He doesn't have the rights to it anymore.
No, he doesn't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But Kojima doing a Bond-inspired Metal Gear film would be so much more distinctive and brilliant and memorable than what we'll probably get, which will be more like Super Mario. Just like, hey, remember when you played this game? Well, we're showing that to you again. Enjoy it, please. Yeah, that's all we've got to say really on that one. So
It was Snake Eater was the one you were thinking about.
Snake Eater. Sorry, yes.
Snake Eater is fucking awesome.
Oh, me again. Sorry, I got for $4.99 fake money. Hello, I'm here from EFAT Ranks of Power and enjoyed your Thor: Love and Thunder review. Cheers. I think that's me.
That's
you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Who else could it be?
glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, EFAP Rings of Power was great fun. Although, classic mistake, because the first one I went on, I budgeted for 6 hours, and I was still working my old day job at the time. Budgeted for 6 hours, and I had to go into the office at 9 a.m. the day after. So we started at 7 p.m. the day before. I thought, 6 hours, that's fine. I'll drink according to that time schedule. We were still going at 7 a.m., and then I had to get a train into London at 9, and then I got back at 7 p.m., and then I was on the drinker stream at 9 p.m., and I finally got to bed at 3 a.m. So I was basically streaming non-stop in between work for 3 days. So if I made any sense at all, that was the moment I decided I really needed to quit my job because I couldn't possibly survive this anymore. So yeah, if I made any sense at all, then I did a good job because I really should.
I actually remember when you. I remember when you did that. And yeah, you made sense, but there were moments where you just kind of like trailed off, and I was like, yep, the delirium's getting to him.
Yeah. It's like hour 11, and I'm arguing with Rags about dwarf magic. Yeah, that's starting to lose my train of thought here.
Fuck. Our boy Hostman for
Again.
another $5. The cheering could be forced at gunpoint, like for Jong-un in North Korea. I assume you're referring to the Star Wars
KK.
Yeah, KK. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. That's my favorite part of the North Korea documentaries. I watched all of February. Learning all of it. I spent, no, sorry.
What?
I spent
There's a lot
almost
of interesting facts about North Korea.
I spent almost the entirety of February just watching documentaries on North Korea.
Oh.
As you do.
You're a strange person.
I didn't really work. I made this joke before. I'm pretty sure I have autism because I can like hyper fucking focused and obsessed. And just
My favorite North Korea fact is that they have like a book of hairstyles you can pick out of. It's like you have to like you go in and it's like a certain number of hairstyles and you pick like number 4 and that's all you can get. Those are like the government mandated hairstyles.
Really?
Yes, that's a thing.
Yeah, they're super strict about basically everything. You have no
But it does
freedom.
not apply to Kim Jong-un. He can have whatever hairstyle he wants. That's why, and he chooses that one. That's the worst part.
Yep. Guy Ramos for what is that?
I don't know. Dollars.
I think it's
Ruples?
Reals, I think.
Ruples.
Ruples.
It could be rubles.
No more
I think it's Reals, which would be South America, but I'm not sure.
For $54.90. Thanks. Thank you very much.
South African Rand.
Oh,
is it?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Wow.
By turning nothing practically into something, the Mario film is commendable to me. Story-wise, source material. All references are just, look what's in store for the future if this works. Super Smash Bros. Mario Kart. Maybe. Maybe.
It was all right. That's all I can say. It was all right.
Yeah, again, I don't think anyone on the panel that saw it like hates it. It's
No.
just, it's just mid.
but there's nothing to commend in its story because it doesn't have one. So there is that.
You're absolutely right there. But then again, I'm not qualified because I fell asleep halfway through it. So
I just saw this. Our boy Melvin Deeply. I had to grab this. Did I see Yeonmi Park on Lex Friedman's podcast? I've watched like 5 podcasts with Yeonmi Park on it.
I bought her book actually last month.
Yeah,
I haven't
she's
started it
fascinating.
yet. Yeah.
Is Cynic a North Korean sympathizer? I sympathize for the fucking citizens of the country. Yep. Oh man. Next up, our boy RR. RRTNZ for a New Zealand 550 again. Thank you, sir. Unpopular opinion. I'm okay with Katie as Mando's main character. Met her 10 years ago. She's gorgeous, charming, funny, and more interesting than Pedo Pascal.
Well, I mean, if that happens, it happens, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, is there? I mean, I don't even care about Mando anyway. If they did this, it wouldn't bother me. I don't know about the rest of you.
No, I mean, I think there's probably a higher standard to meet, though, than I met this girl once and she was quite nice,
Yes,
so I wanted
true.
to take over the franchise. I'd rather the story actually fit the character. I'm all for them focusing on Bo-Katan. However, they probably need to actually make that clear and also start telling a good story and not The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah.
I think we should get some guest readers in. Who wants to take this one?
Yeah,
Vex, you can
yeah.
do
I
this.
just don't know how
say the
like
C word.
guests want to read super chat.
Well,
I
I'm
think
not
I
polite.
vote for
I'm forcing them.
Vex.
Vex,
I vote
read
for
this
Vex.
one. Do it.
All right, Mr. Taco About It. Jeff Snyder said Filoni and KK had a falling out because KK forced him to reunite Grogu and Din in
The
T-Bob?
Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Uh,
Sounds like
T-Bob.
everything is well with Lucasfilm.
that is true.
It's believable too. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually believe that. Actually believe it.
You know, ours just like throwing pennies.
$220.
I'll take this one.
Sure.
Go on in.
Joka, Rosario Dawson, Ray Stevenson, and Thrawn equals I'm in.
Who's Thrawn?
Thrawn is the like supreme admiral of the in the books at
Smurf.
least, obviously. He looks like a Smurf, but he's the supreme admiral of the Imperial fleet and essentially becomes like the de facto leader after the Emperor. So
Okay.
And he's the one. So after the Emperor dies, he's the one who rebuilds the sort of the Imperial remnant outside the galactic rim, and he then leads an invasion force back into the galaxy. So he's like Star Wars' next natural big villain, if
Okay.
it weren't for the fact that they chose not to use him at all.
You know more about Star Wars than me. I didn't know any of these. I didn't know any of this existed at all.
they don't, according to Lucasfilm.
Oh,
so
yeah, well, according to KK, I guess.
I'm not reading this one. Someone else is gonna grab it now that we're all reading them.
I just did the last one, so I'm out.
I can't read, so
That's my line.
I know.
I say that.
Problem being, are you here? Would you like to read a super chat?
I shall. Thank you. Michael Evans for 5 weird money things. Listening to
Real
y'all is a great distraction from the paper I'm writing on what makes Chinese films feel distinct. Mainly that they're Chinese.
Maybe it's
Glad
the
I
propaganda.
finally, glad I finally caught you live. There you go.
As opposed to dead,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes, well, half dead.
If you look deep into my eyes, I'm dead behind them.
The closest I got to it was it Jupiter? No, Jupiter Rising, Jupiter Ascending. There was a Chinese film. And the trailer was hilarious because at one point there was a Chinese guy holding a Gatling gun, shooting at the sky, shouting "Fuck you, Jupiter," which was very funny.
That film is awful, though. Jupiter. I said, "Oh God, that film is
Yeah, it was
one of the
Ascending,
worst
right?
films."
Oh no,
ever
no,
made.
sorry, not Jupiter Ascending. I'm thinking the Wandering Earth is the one I'm thinking of. Sorry, I think.
Oh,
but
right,
same basic premise, I imagine. Yeah, I'm not sure Hollywood should be learning the worst habits from Hollywood. Sorry, China should be learning the worst habits from Hollywood, but it seems like that's what they're doing.
Man, with 7 people on this, it's running slow as fuck. it's like it's a challenge. Stupenzo for $5. Dark
question
Hour.
directly
Oh, hey, this
to
is
me,
for you. You read, sir.
Hey,
This one's
Darkhour, when are we doing the We Watch for the Bob Hoskins Mario movie? Also, Speed with Blue Collar Loser. So those two guys actually are guys that have streamed with me a couple of times. I actually stream with Blue Collar Loser a lot, and me and Stupenzo recently did a watch through. Well, it was almost like I call it Let's Talk Cinema, but it's kind of like Drinkers Happy Hours, where we did Boogie Nights. So I did not know that he was interested in doing the Bob Hoskins Mario movie. I'm learning this just now. So I'll have to get that into my schedule, I guess, based on this super chat because you paid for it. So
Shit, that sounds like fun too. Platoon, you and I were talking about how this podcast should be freewheeling at some point.
Not
I
that
kind of
anyone
want
would have got that impression ever during
Yeah.
the course of this stream.
the Boogie Nights one, like at certain points, like we got into like so deep into like the backstage stuff, we forgot we were like, oh no, we got to keep
We're
this
talking
moving
about
along.
the I'd love to watch like the Bob Hoskins Mario movie, or just another excuse to watch The Room and do that on stream.
I'm up for that. I'm up for that.
Postman Socrates, the Boogie Nights is not a porno film. It just happens to feature porno. Just so you're aware.
And a big schlong.
Which
would,
what is it? Mark Wahlberg still has the prosthetic for that.
Yeah,
to
he
this
is
day.
processing.
Really?
It wasn't
Yeah.
real.
It was, and
I
he
know.
said it's deteriorating, so that's got to be terrifying
Oh.
when someone walks through his house.
Oh,
Vex,
Well,
this one
you know, they
mentions
could have
you.
done with one of those on Friday Night Tights, couldn't they? A prosthetic one, a lengthy one for their guest.
Bring that memory back in my head.
Vex,
benefited from
please
it.
do.
You
All
could
right, so
tell
this
that
is
was a
for-
prosthetic though, because you didn't have to have a microscope or to zoom in to actually see the thing. Like your browser zoom didn't have to be at 400% to see Gavin McInnes's penis, so it must have been fake. Sorry, Vex, after you.
You're good. I like listening to you guys talk about dicks. It's all good.
Oh, dicks, cunts, it's all here.
Go watch my Boogie Night stream then. You'll have plenty of dick talk in that one.
Oh, fuck.
We got dicks of all sizes, cunts of all sizes, colours.
Ah, you people, tell you, awful.
Your cut isn't that big though, probably. That's why we're getting divorced.
Hey,
For
Snake.
50 Polish
Snake.
zloty.
Snake. Just saying. Don't want to brag.
Tossing a coin to our critics to offset Vex's rampant profanity. Her train quite clearly has no brakes. Choo choo. Happy to have you guys here as a nice closure to a long Easter weekend.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Happy Easter.
Well, thank you very much for the
Happy
donation,
Easter.
sir. Or ma'am. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume.
Johan is a male name.
I don't want to assume.
Well, yeah, even so. I mean, Dylan is also
Dylan,
a male name, but
yeah, Dylan.
Weekend, are you available to read a super chat?
Oh hell yeah! I was just gonna say I was gonna pop out for a bit, but yeah. So,
We'll do this first.
Not
so
yet.
yeah, I'll just do this first. Then I'll just I'm
You
just
need to
gonna check
pee.
something downstairs. Yeah.
No worries, no worries.
What's from Simon Grindle for 5 imperialist whatever.
Pounds.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
fine.
thank
That's
you,
fine.
Pat.
Know your place. Yeah.
We weren't conquered by the Grand British Empire, unfortunately.
Well, you should have been.
Where, do you mind me, where are you precisely? Do you mind me asking? Because we might need to rectify that at some point.
No problem. I'm from the Philippines, so
Oh,
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're just under control of like a completely different superpower then.
yeah, the apprentices of the other superpower.
No. We'll not
From
stand
the
for that.
best, right?
We'll not stand for the apprentices. No.
So for 5 imperialists currency, I thought the love stories in the first Fantastic Beasts really made the film. Tied tragedy into the story of an unloved child. What happened in the first movie? I haven't watched it.
the first one is, oh god, I'm trying to remember. So
I liked
Ezra
it.
Miller's character is kind of this orphan child with like superpower magical abilities,
Yeah.
and they're trying to reach him, I think, before the evil people do. I think
Yes.
that's right.
Yes, but there is also romance between the human guy, the fat guy that would,
And the beast.
and the
Beast.
No, he's not
That's
the
what they call me.
beast. Yeah. Anyway.
Wait. Ezra Miller, the Flash Ezra Miller.
Yep,
Mr.
he's in
Mr.
all
Culp.
3 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is.
They
He must
are.
really. Oh my God, he must know someone in Warner Brothers then.
Well,
since he still
appropriately,
hasn't worked.
he uses his magical abilities to escape the attentions of law enforcement. So it's
Yeah, that's aligned
You
with
just
reality.
couldn't get out of character.
You're
huh?
absolutely right there. though. I never thought of it that way.
imitates life.
Never thought of it that way at all.
Oh fuck!
It's written there.
Thank you, Simon. Ian Allen. I love that name. I can pronounce it and everything. $20. Thanks, Ian. Really appreciate that. And he says, I appreciate all of you watching the garbage so I don't have to. Speaking of video game movies and shows, do any of you have any reservations about the Fallout series? I don't play Fallout.
Nor do I.
I used to, and I have reservations, but I have reservations about any current film. So, yes.
He does. I can vouch for that. Definitely.
We all can, yeah.
Fallout,
Yeah.
like,
Rightly
the
so.
best stories can't really be used, like, I think, because it's, first of all, like one of my favorite like in jokes is the existence of Vault 69, which was like an experiment where they put like only one guy and like 1,000 women in a vault, and then the opposite was Vault 68, which was one woman for 1,000 guys. And like the whole thing about it is like the social experiments, and I don't think those like the best ones would make it into the story, because a lot of them like are
I think
very
that's just porn at this point.
Problematic.
That story.
Problematic.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like if you go back and like the older games, the like top-down RPG ones were probably superior to the well, I'm not gonna say probably, they were superior to the third-person shooters, but the ones that the people know are third-person shooters, so it depends what route they end up going with it.
Yeah, Fallout 3 is probably the exception. Fallout 3 is pretty damn good, I would say. I mean, I didn't play much of the old top-down ones, but I think Fallout 3 managed to keep the story elements and marry them to first person without losing anything, which is what often tends to happen. But no, I'm with you in the sense that, yeah, it would be politically problematic for them to adapt certain stories for the modern day. It's such a brilliant setting. You could tell so many unique stories with that. But then The Last of Us came around with an equivalently brilliant setting, and I didn't mind The Last of Us, but it was pretty generic, and it didn't really stick in the mind, with the exception of its side character episodes. So my problem isn't necessarily that they're adapting the game or that they'll fail to adapt the game. The problem is that I don't know that anyone currently employed by a major studio is actually capable of writing a good story based on any property, game or otherwise. And that's disappointing. I had great fun playing Fallout 3. Best time I ever got one over on my mate who lived with me for ages, playing Fallout 3, and I was wandering around looking at the floor, and he was criticizing me for hours, like, why the hell are you looking at the floor? Enemies are up there. So he took the controller and he walked onto a landmine. And I said, that's why I was looking at the floor.
Yeah, the thing about Fallout is that, like, if you're gonna do a show based on that, you end up with a situation. So, like, one of the major criticisms of Mandalorian, or even before a lot of the newer stuff, was that it seemed like very fetch questy. Well, that's a big chunk of Fallout, is go to this location to find this thing, and you find out story as you go along via, like, you know, smaller like interactions or like computers and stuff. So it's like the cool storyline is not usually the main one in that. So it's gonna be a really weird adaptation.
They can't get anything right, can they?
Not really. Our boy RR for another New Zealand 220.
I'll take this one.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
Because I know he did this because of me. So, Eniphis is Welsh for rainbow, solo reference. I have no idea if I pronounced that correct because it's not a real language.
It's probably pronounced.
It's actually a running gag between me and RRT. So I always call it like Elvish and like random thing whenever I see him say something.
But unironically, it is Elvish. So much of Tolkien's Elvish is modelled on Welsh. That actually, if you can speak Welsh, you can speak a lot of Elvish. Or at least, is it Kenya Elvish? I think it is. There's a different one which is differently
Kenyan
derived.
Elvish?
No, Quenya. Quenya.
I mean, I would just like to point out.
Kenyan Elvish.
I would just like to point out he just typed out something in the chat that is. I'm convinced he just made this up, but he's saying it's proper Welsh. If you could find that one.
What the fuck? Yeah, after I start it, we'll read it after this super chat.
Oh God, yeah.
I thought you were saying Elvis at one point.
Elvish.
Is it 1000 NOD? I'm gonna say this permanently. It's a California 11, and check out the Lackadaisy pilot if you want to see some real art.
I have not heard
What
of
is
this. I'm
that?
gonna have to check it out.
I don't know.
Lackadaisy. It's a webcomic
Is it?
Yeah,
by
it's
Tracy.
about gangster cats. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is. Damn, the art looks cool as hell.
Let's have a look.
It's like Aristocrats Gone Wild.
Have you read it? Weekend, have you read this? Are you
I
familiar?
read it way back. I recall reading it because the art is very good, but I'm not like watching it or reading it religiously. I just know of it.
It's funny with comics, isn't it? It's always the art first for me, and then story second. I don't know about you guys.
I
love the
they have
20s
They
look
have to
about
marry. If you don't, if the art and the story don't marry right, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it really
used
does
to-
stand out.
I don't know. Todd McFarlane's art really fascinated me, and even though some of the stories that they had Spider-Man was crap, I just bought it for the art. I thought the art was just fucking amazing. But you know,
Well, that was the idea behind Spawn. It was really like early on with Spawn. It was just really them selling artwork. That's why like the story barely exists at the beginning of Spawn.
yeah.
Yeah, when I was reading Spawn when I was a kid from like issue 1 on, it was really about the art and how cool the characters looked. It was the story was the concept's real cool, but he was a fucking terrible writer.
Yeah.
Really bad writer.
He got better as time went on, but
I guess he does. I don't like this. I won't go off on a tangent too much about Todd McFarlane, but the way that he writes his books with like a fucking overlay narrative is I've never seen anything like it. It's like the most convoluted thing I've ever seen in a comic book. But no one probably here knows what I'm talking about. So
I had a Spider-Man
I've read almost all of
T-shirt.
Spawn, so
with his art on it. I used to wear it every day, and it just fell apart because I loved the art so much.
Oh yeah, he's an iconic. He's one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, and like there are people that are more talented than him, but he was like revolutionary. Like a lot of artists stem from his style that he created. Like no one was doing anything like he was.
No.
So I give all the credit in the world to him for that. My girlfriend sent $1.99. You just like
cheap.
YouTube takes part of this money. You could have just texted me and we could have kept
Exactly.
$2.
Exactly.
Also, she'll demand that you buy her lunch tomorrow, so actually you're gonna lose money from this.
Yeah. There you go.
Best kids movie by adult standards. Probably for me, I love.
Don't say it.
I was gonna say I love the original Toy Story, but probably Wall-E.
Oh yeah.
I like Wall-E a lot.
That's a good film.
I don't know. It sort of depends how we're defining kids' movies, I suppose. Because if you go with, I think it was Patrick Williams who said that Star Wars was movies about space wizards intended for children, and if that's true, then Star Wars is the best kids' movie. But it's not true because he's an idiot. So I'll probably go with. I think Incredibles is probably
It's really good.
high up. It's
That's
at
really
least
good.
high up on my list,
Yeah.
if not the top.
honestly,
Mine
you
is-
can't really go wrong with a lot of the early Pixar films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine
you're
is
right.
Animal Olympics. Animal Olympics
She-
from 1980.
Inside Out.
I'm gonna go with
Fantastic
Iron
film.
Giant.
Oh,
Oh, lovely film.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
that's a good shout. Weekend, do you have a favorite kids film?
I don't know. I'm put on. Nothing
Yeah.
immediately comes to mind. So I might not have like a go-to favorite kids film.
So I don't know if I wouldn't say it's like the best by adult standards, like the best, but one that after rewatching it, I realized the message of the movie was like so much more ingrained in like adulthood was Cars. Cars. Yeah, Cars actually, like, you know, the whole like understanding your own limitations and
I actually haven't seen any of those Cars movies. Still.
like the second and third one have like nothing to do. Like the first one as a standalone is pretty good, but like the like it's hard to explain exactly because I haven't seen it again in a while. But the I recall
Fight
Club, yeah.
but just to sum it up real quick, like the understanding that like you can't go it alone. You need people in your life. There's a lot of like pseudo adult themes in there that are played off for kids, which is really good.
I'll tell you what, the
Some
best
great
kids
ones in the
movie
chat.
ever. One of the best kids movie in recent years is Paddington and Paddington 2.
Really?
I
Is that-
love those Paddington movies.
Seriously.
Oh
Really?
my
Seriously.
goodness.
It's not a meme. It's not a meme. It's really good,
I'm
right?
telling you right now.
Genuinely,
you haven't
they're
seen
very good
Paddington
films.
1 and
They are
2,
great.
you're missing out.
Land Before Time has like one of the most tragic stories in the history of real life.
Yeah,
with
that
the,
was
with the girl who got
Land Before Time
murdered.
is very good.
I was talking about what happened with the voice actress with it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I was like
wasn't
reliving my
thinking of that at
childhood
all.
when the mom died.
Wait, what happened with the voice?
The
actress?
original voice actress for Ducky was like murdered by like her father after the movie.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Can't get demonetized, so we'll just
Did he say yep as he was doing it?
Gotcha, bitch.
I don't know the entire story behind it. I just know
Seriously,
that.
Ben? Seriously?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
The best part was the fact that it's with the accent just made it sound so
He
Damn,
put the
perfect.
glasses
It
on.
was just
it's fucking brutal.
That is horrible.
Good thing we were demonetized already. Moving on. Hostman Socrates for another $5. Thanks, dude. The woman who translated Metal Gear Solid 2 said the writing in it was nothing above fan fiction level.
Like
I'm not
everything
shocked by
else.
that.
That's interesting.
Disagree.
Of course you
She's a
would.
woman, so just take that with a grain of salt.
I remember like after I beat Metal Gear Solid 4, this was like so long ago, so I don't even remember the story of this series anymore. But I remember after I beat Metal Gear Solid 4, just being like, I have no fucking clue what happened in that video game, and it was so fun.
If you have several hours after the stream, I can explain to you the entire storyline.
I don't. Yeah, I want to go back and replay those though, so I can actually like repay attention to the story and actually really take it in.
I actually have a funny story about that. When I was in college, I was at my English class. It was like write a paper about something that isn't like a book. It had to be like about like a film or a video game or something. It had to be. So I chose Metal Gear Solid, and it came back as plagiarized because there was a lot. Well, hold on, because there was a lot of information that I pulled off of Wikipedia, but I was the person who wrote this stuff on Wikipedia. So I was like, I'll give you the quote, and I literally put like I put everything there, and I just put me. And they were like, oh, okay.
All right. That's fucking funny, man.
What grade did you get for it then?
Oh, I got an A for it after they realized I actually wrote it twice.
Ah, okay.
I should have stolen that strategy. Like if you write the wiki entry to anything you're citing, then they can't slag you off for quoting wiki. That's a good. Oh, I wish I'd known that when I was at uni.
How did you prove that you wrote it though? To them,
it was a video game. They just believed me. I was like, Wikipedia is an open source. I was a teenager with nothing to do, so I just wrote this, and my professor was really cool about it. She was like, "Okay, that actually makes sense now."
Back when you could openly,
this was years ago. Now. You can't do it now.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. I got away with it like a few years ago. I was doing an essay for it's an ethics lecture on. It might have been pornography or something to do with sexual ethics. And
go on.
Like I had a very, very lackadaisical attitude to my degree, so like I didn't give a shit. So my thing was, I'm going to quote nothing but South Park episodes in references for this lecture. So I did an entire essay just quoting from South Park episodes. It got an A. So that's
excellent.
I think the moral of the story is just write it, and it probably will just get an A because the professor doesn't really care.
At least you've bothered to turn out some kind of unique, innovative argument, whereas most people don't. But like my dissertation was like the most broad bullshit question imaginable. I think it was, does art do us good? And if so, is that good a moral one? And I wrote it, it's like 10,000, 11,000 word dissertation. I wrote it in a day, on the day of release, having not had a topic until the day before deadline. Wrote this shit. And then I was slightly below the word count, unusually for me. So I quoted W.H. Auden's longest poem and said, I think this sums up what I'm trying to say in this essay. Longest poem, bumps it over the word count, just quotes poetry, didn't bother referencing half of it because I didn't have time, also got an A. Uni is an overrated institution, but it's great fun if you want to hone the art of bullshitting. It's a very good place to go.
And of course, South Park, going back to South Park, you had the episode, the last episode, wasn't it? About Chat GPT that does all the...
well, because you guys had the internet and stuff. When I was at school, we didn't have the internet or anything like that.
No, but back in your day, people actually had to learn stuff, whereas in my day, we didn't. So I got
quill and pen, quill and ink.
Not that old.
I went to Hogwarts.
I found that boring, so I thought I'm going to try and make these things. Also, my lecturers were all nuns, so I thought, how can I scandalize my lecturers as much as possible? Okay. So here's an essay on porn referencing South Park.
That's good.
That'll do.
Brilliant. I love it.
Mr. Talk About It for another 5. Thank you. What is everyone's favorite remake or reboot? I personally think The Departed is great and preferred over the Chinese original Infernal Affairs.
Oh, okay.
I never saw the original of that, but I remember learning that it was a remake and just thought that was
it's
really
basically beat for beat. It's the Infernal Affairs, first Infernal Affairs movie is essentially The Departed is it does absolutely nothing different. So
I think The Thing is probably the one of the best remakes
Yep.
One of
from me.
and The Fly. I thought
And
The Fly
Invasion
was
of the
really
Body
fun.
Snatchers as well.
Oh
those
yes, I love
three,
that
yeah.
one too.
There's a horror remake that was really good. I think it was called Let Me In or Let the
Yeah.
Right One In.
No. The remake was terrible. The
Yeah, I thought
original
the
one-
remake was
original-
horrible.
The original was freaking fantastic. The
With
original
Chloe
one.
Grace Moretz, right?
That was terrible. That film.
I saw it one time, like 13, 14 years
Have
ago.
you seen the original?
I have not. I
Watch
own
the
it.
Let
original.
me tell
That's-
you.
I
Yeah.
bought it
original.
to watch it and still haven't.
You should watch it.
To.
It's absolutely fantastic. Seriously.
Yeah. I definitely want
Also,
to.
The Mummy. The Mummy was originally.
just stealing it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say that the 1999 Mummy is
He beat you to it.
Beat me to it. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the list again of remakes. Hold on.
I really liked the American Ring remake over the Japanese one, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was scarier.
I remember seeing The Ring because there was hype about it and just being like, maybe it's because I grew up watching horror movies, so I'm just like so desensitized to it. I was like, oh, this movie is pussy shit.
I was
It
like
was-
11 years old and my parents wouldn't let me watch anything. So I thought it was scarier than the original when I
Yeah.
saw that one years later.
I'm gonna
when
go
I
a
s-
completely different route. So just
when I saw it, I remember thinking, I'm like, yeah, I understand why women like it because it's not actually good or scary.
I'm gonna go a completely different route with this because everyone took the good movies.
Oh,
So,
really?
for pure comedic value, The Wicker Man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Nicolas Cage is always.
Everybody
a 10 out of
took all
10.
the good films, so I'm just gonna see the bad ones.
Not the base! Yeah.
Definitely not Bedazzled.
Oh,
The original's
Bedazzled.
so good.
Jesus.
Oh, Casino Royale. Then I'm just gonna the first James
Let's just-
Bond.
Oh yeah.
Let's just list
Yeah.
all the remakes.
Yeah.
The Day
There's
the
your,
Earth Stood Still. No.
I'm trying to remember what the original
Darkhour, there you go.
Casino Royale was like.
With
So-
Woody Allen. It's the one with Woody Allen, and it was
Oh,
like
is
a
it?
comedy. Yeah, it was a comedy. The first version. Yeah. David Niven played Bond or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
you had,
Who's laughing like that?
Be the fucking this fucking comedy.
The
Dali.
Evil Dead. The Evil Dead.
No, it's The Ring. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Although it was the remake of It was better than the
Ah.
TV version in my
Yeah,
opinion.
definitely.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one. Yeah.
true.
Mm.
That
I
is
like that
true.
one. It was
Even though
really
the
good.
second
Depends
one
what you're
wasn't.
looking for. If you're looking for like pure like the like unintentional comedy, the original miniseries is great for that.
Mm.
So it's like
Yeah.
Definitely not The Lion King.
Oh God.
what you mean which is a remake of Kimba the White Lion?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
They ripped it completely. Nobody talks about it though. It's really weird.
Bastards. My Little Pony, the movie. There you go.
We have 2 super chats left. Who wants to read this one?
I can read it
I'll
because
do it.
I know about this series.
Oh,
right.
you do it then.
Socrates.
You do it.
Yeah, Postman Socrates, HK47 for $5 said, check out Black Sad by Juan Diaz Canales. It's a lot like Lackadaisy, R-rated film noir Zootopia in the 50s. Because I think it started out as a comic. I remember reading it in a bookshop, and it was really good. Like, it's very noir, and the first volume of it was just very good. And I keep looking for it if I could buy it. So I don't know if there's a show or a film, because apparently there's an R-rated film now. So
Well, us Diaz boys, we're good at writing. So there you go.
Oh, and this is actually Weekend Warrior. Can you read the last one that we have too? Because it's actually in reference to what you were talking about.
oh, I was talking about the cartoon, not the webcomic. Oh,
Yeah.
1000 nod. Yeah, because it started out as a webcomic. Then we have I actually looked at the trailer or the pilot. There's actually a pilot for it, which is very good. So yeah.
That is all the super chats.
You waving to?
I'm
see
waving
Vex
to my
waving
peoples in the
constantly.
chat, okay? And I like
People.
to acknowledge the chat
I
to
thought
make
you
sure
were
that
gonna
we're not
mention-
ignoring them.
People.
I thought you were going to mention.
So I wave to them.
I thought you were going to mention the Welsh place name.
Oh, I did. I pulled it up. But Darkhour wasn't paying attention.
He
What?
pulled it up. No one could pronounce it, and
And we moved on.
Because it's not real.
Okay.
oh, that's the longest place name in the UK. I know that one.
Oh, it sounds like someone's gargling a cock.
Oh, Jesus.
They are Welsh, so it's probably a sheepcock, but even so.
If you put them
Oh
near
my
the edge of
fuck.
a cliff, they push back harder, apparently.
Makes
Your
sense.
Esquire.
your work.
I like the idea. I like the idea that Vex has this entire sort of sign language that she's developed for her people in chat. So she's having these long conversations with people that
Just
we
with
don't
her
understand.
hand, yeah.
We can't see it, but she's really calling us all cunts. And
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Dear, oh dear.
R
What a
with the final
bitch.
word. Great stream, folks. Even with Vex's profanity.
Seriously.
I didn't even
Yourself.
swear that much. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
72 cunts later, we're not much swearing now.
Oh, God almighty.
So I think as we're drawing to the end, it's time to do the roll call of plugs, and I'm going to go in the order of my screen. So Darkhour, where can we find you, and what are you doing next?
My channel is called Let's Talk Content because when I did this whole thing, the name Darkhour was already taken for a channel that never gets used, so I had to come up with something else. But the
Well, we stole the greatest show in the universe from Maddox, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's okay. I actually it was a repurposed name anyway, so I actually got to use something that had fallen apart from me years ago. So it was good for that. My next project, actually, I'm working on a lengthy breakdown of the quality of film versus quality of fight on all of the Rocky and Creed films. So it's going to be a multi-part series of, I'm going to look for patterns in it, like which films are best, which fights are best, which are worst, which are,
And
and
be hard.
yeah, I mean, I already kind of know where it's going to go, but I want to see if there's any kind of pattern. Plus, I just like to break down fight scenes. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I also have my a bi-weekly stream called the Dork Hour podcast that I do on my channel.
Very
Fantastic. We'll stick this in all of these will be in the description of the video, and we'll make sure that's happening. Problem being, what can we expect from you? Where do we find you?
Well, you can find me on the Twitwats at The Problem Being for my usual round of, tranny bashing. Joke,
You are
joke.
the only person I know who's banned more often than Weekend Warrior is. So it's
No, to be fair, I did take 2 weeks off voluntarily, so that wasn't bad.
That's true.
Other than that, I am on the TARDIS Zone on Fridays with a show called Contact with me, Noel, and Bolstrek. He's back, he's angry, and he's louder than ever. And also you can catch me on the Brown channel, Brown Alliance, with these chaps. At the top
Hell yeah.
on Sunday.
You forgot to say I was also. You can see me in Harry Potter, and
In
Well,
every
you
movie
know.
that was ever made, if you look close enough.
Warhorse, Captain America.
there you go. See, you forgot
all
that.
the films.
Bigging yourself up, are you, mate?
In which
Well,
case,
you
the
know,
Mega Geek,
one doesn't like to
it's now your turn, Ian. Mega
Oh,
Geek.
God.
What can we expect from you?
Oh God. Right. So I've got a film on Netflix called Bad Day. It's a cop movie. It's a kind of like a what you call it? A homage
what
to the
movie?
cop movie. Cop movie. Not a cock movie, love. No. Just a cop movie.
Got really into that real fast. She was like,
Although,
"What's going on?"
If it was made by Disney, then it would be different, but it's not. So
No, it's not. Yeah. So I've
that'd be a
got
cop movie.
Yeah, I've got that on Netflix. I think it's on Tubi in America, and I also got a web series on my channel called Rebecca Gold, and you can watch season 1. I'm in the process of making season 2 at the moment, and that's all you can expect from me. I've got a couple of films on my channel as well, which I'm trying to convince Movie Cynic to watch, The Killing Zone. But hey, such is life, eh, mate?
I swear I'll watch it, but my new autistic level obsession is reliving WWE shit from the 90s.
You see, this is what I have to put up with. I can't even get him to watch my movie. But there you go.
In a month or two, you'll see a fucking quarter scale Stone Cold Steve Austin statue sitting right
How
here.
did you go
True.
from North Korea to WWE?
I know.
I don't know,
You
dude.
clearly
As-
anything about how WWE does business if you
What's
have
that?
to ask that question. They do business with a lot of shady countries.
Interesting.
Yes,
You
they
still
do.
watch wrestling though? I mean, I thought that went out with the dinosaurs.
No, I don't watch wrestling. I just I downloaded the Peacock app and for like a specific movie, and then I saw that Stone Cold Steve Austin had like a talk show, and I was like, oh shit, that'll be interesting because I used to watch it when I was a kid in the 90s.
Right.
I was like, every Monday night, I couldn't wait to watch wrestling when I thought it was real when I was like 8 or whatever. And then I realized they had all the old Raw, like Monday Night Raw stuff, and like every pay-per-view that I never get to watch because my parents wouldn't buy the pay-per-views. So I started watching them, and now I'm like reliving it and re-enjoying it for the artistry behind it. Like obviously it's very fucking fake. It's very obviously fake now, but like it's the only kind of storytelling I've ever seen where the crowd is an active participant and navigates where the stories are going to go.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating in whole new ways now. Plus it is nostalgic to like relive, Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff. Like I remember like when that fucking glass shatters, I still like jump for joy. It's so much fun.
You were the little kid that was on the settee and you jumped with your elbow like that, smashing your brother's head in.
Oh fuck yeah. I try and give people Stone Cold stunners all the time. Yeah, I'm watching. So I've gotten through, there's an episode every week. And like I've been reliving the Attitude Era, which is like from 1996 to like 2003. I'm halfway through 1998 right now, and I've been watching it like every day. It's just on in the background every day for the past month. So this is gonna be a while before
Your girlfriend must be going nuts.
She fucking hates this so much. She fucking hates it, dude.
I always just assumed that WWE was the only acceptable way to be gay in the South.
That's why I moved to the South, baby. I need my oiled up, shaved men rolling around with each other. Here she is, right here. It's
time to
Look, just to offset some of the down talking. So I do know a few pro wrestlers personally, and being a person who's actually been a competitive submission wrestler, like with jiu-jitsu and like real, like what people would call real wrestling. Those guys and girls get hurt more often than real fighters. Real fighters, because I've cornered MMA fights. I've trained MMA with MMA fighters. The injury rate in pro wrestling is insane.
Yeah.
They brought the Undertaker back recently, didn't they, against some fat bald guy, and he dropped him on his neck, which apparently is really bad.
Not the Undertaker.
That did happen. I saw that. That was Goldberg. It was Bill Goldberg.
Oh, Bill Goldberg.
They did that. Yeah. It was like a nostalgia thing that they did in like Saudi Arabia. They like brought back a bunch of people who should not have been doing it anymore. And I did see the clip of him almost dying.
Oh my god!
Lord, you have such a wonderful turn of phrase. I have to say,
Goldberg almost died.
It like the results are scripted and stuff and all that, but the injuries are very real, especially in the 90s. Like when they're taking those chair shots to the head, like that shit is fucking real. You can't. And I was listening to interviews and stuff, and they were saying like getting ready for a wrestling match as it's scripted or whatever, but it's like preparing for a car wreck. And I showed Brittany the match between Undertaker and Mankind, the Hell in the Cell match, when it was planned. He threw Mankind 16 feet off of a fucking cell onto a table. And it's like the most brutal shit. It's real. Like it's the most brutal shit you could possibly see.
The second one where he goes through the roof and falls, that wasn't planned.
and the choke slam through the
not planned. Almost died.
Almost died. Yeah.
Does not remember the match.
Exactly. If he had lifted both feet up, he was dead. Yeah,
must have enjoyed it if he couldn't remember it. There you are. Just like the good old days.
That's how concussed he was.
Yeah, that's how fucking rocked that guy's world was.
If you can remember it, you weren't there, man.
Just gonna say, must have enjoyed it if you didn't remember it is not. Yeah.
That's what we said in the 90s.
Poor girl.
Oh yeah.
Poor old Brittany. Jesus.
Probably more grounds for arrest than anything else. But Vex, it's your go. Where can we find you? What can we expect?
No swearing, please, Vex. No swearing.
Fuck off, Ian. You can find me on the Twitters at Vex Electronica. You can find me on the YouTubes at Vex_Electronica. I don't know what I'm planning to do next. I'm going to be in a stream in 9 minutes after
You're coming back on this show.
More cussing.
Turning tricks round the back for a $5.
Oh, Hold on. I charge 20. Okay.
All right.
I gotta pay those
Your
for,
money,
pay
your
for those
money.
lattes, okay?
That's
No, I do a movie review stream with a good group of guys on Mondays at 9 p.m. 9 minutes actually.
Damn.
So I'll be there. And other than that, I don't know. I got video ideas. I just don't know what's sitting. There's a Marvels trailer dropping tomorrow. I might do a review on that.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
a good
really? Oh,
Yeah.
Gold
wow.
to these people.
Money!
Trust me.
Money!
Yeah, it's gonna be gold.
I'm trying to break out of the video game content that I've cornered myself into a little bit. So that's about it.
Watch this.
So
space.
if we all talk really, really slowly, we can make you late for your next stream. So
If you really wanted to, sure. But like I like to let people know in advance. So I said like, hey guys, I might be a couple minutes late.
oh god, you plan in advance? Duh.
See, that's a politely saying it, isn't it?
Bloody women!
Politely.
I have a
Finally.
calendar. I book all of my appearances and put it on a calendar.
Is it with you people?
You have enough appearances to be on a calendar. I have to make up my own.
I like the Tenacious D reference hour. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. How about that? It's cute.
Very good.
And I think finally that means Weekend Warrior, because I love your videos. The last one I saw was your She-Hulk one. What can we expect from you next, and where can we find you?
Okay, guys, I have a YouTube channel that is currently unupdated for so long.
I saw 4 months.
But, yeah, man, because I am just busy with IRL shit. But having said that, I am planning a reboot, if you will, this month. I have gotten an editor, so he's helping me do a Hogwarts Legacy video. So
Ooh,
I'm reviewing the shit out of that this month.
Nice.
And I have a podcast with Simeon Jimmy on his channel. Is it Kino? Where we talk about if a movie is Kino or not. So
What does
I'm a
Kino
twist
mean?
there semi-regularly. So
What is Kino? Because I'm confused about that one.
Kino is like a meme term for a good movie. So I think that's how it came into the internet now. I saw it first used on TV 4chan and in the TV board on
Kino.
4chans. So
Kino?
if you say something is
It's
Kino,
like Keen, but like Kino.
K-I-N-O.
Not that difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
Kino.
So it's based. It's Kino. Yeah, we're on an F.
It's based.
Oh, you
Yeah.
young
Absolutely
people!
based.
Yeah.
You young whippersnappers
Is that like-
and your hip talk.
He somehow
Based?
mixed. He somehow mixed like the most recent version of that word and like
Yeah.
one from like the 80s, and like he mashed them to Keen and bass.
Kino
at the
and
same time.
bass.
Oh, funny thing. Before I think we're wrapping up now, right? It's funny because I saw something.
Maybe.
Apparently, saying Chad and based puts you on an FBI list. So that's funny. That's really weird.
I
and
think by
funny.
now we already all are anyway, so...
Oh yeah.
It's
God,
about
I
one.
thought-
I want a
thought using
really,
the word
really
sick was
long,
good.
like thick FBI file. If I don't get one of those, then I'll consider it a
I thought he was
disappointment.
going to say something
A
else.
thick what?
Also that, but yeah.
You need to change your TV in the background, Platoon. That's an old-fashioned TV now.
I know.
Got
Oh,
that.
CRT
It makes
TV.
life. It makes life so
CRT.
difficult because no films are made with this dimensions anymore. So I have to keep cutting, like cropping the trailers, which is bad. So yeah, I'll be updated to a proper flat screen,
Flat screen, yeah.
widescreen thing. Yeah.
That 4:3 ratio is really
No.
outdated.
No, I like it. Don't do that. Don't change it.
Those old 300-pound CRT TVs are
But
there.
it reminded
Yeah.
me that
Child
my,
wow.
my first ever TV I stole from my great granddad's house after he died, and it's basically the same dimensions, and so it's a nice little early
That
90s.
story
Glad
one.
you
just
stole
got
it
more
after he
dark.
died and not before.
Yeah,
As he stole it as he was dying. He was like, "Look, I'm not gonna do this no more."
That's why he died in a heart attack, because his TV wasn't there. Yeah.
it's
Well,
better that than
just
killing him for the TV.
That's also true.
Oh, dear.
Is that everybody? Because we have a fucking stable of guests today, which is
We
a
do.
wonderful thing.
Well, we haven't done you or I yet. What are you working on next, Movie Cynic?
Yeah, I have 2 gigantic videos that are coming out. No, not compared to the length of your videos, but they're for my channel. They're long. I have a Marvel related one, which is going to be part brand new reviews of all of Phase 4 that I haven't reviewed yet, and then a compilation of ones that I have done. So maybe it'll be Platoon length of like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but hopefully 30, 40 minutes of new content in that video. And then I have a Star Wars related one, or another one, because I was going to do, since all 3 IPs are dying, I did my MCU's collapsing one, and I still have one to do regarding DC's fate and Star Wars' fate. So the Marvel one and Star Wars one are coming up. And what about you?
DC's fate is bullshit. Sorry, go. Sorry.
What am I working on next? Probably Mandalorian, I think. Unless something else comes out in the interim that disrupts me. Yeah, Mando will be the next one, and that's probably 2 hours for part 1. And then 2 hours at least for part 2, I would guess, is the current release schedule. And then if I have time, I'll do Rings of Power again, because I have to do the rest of that show at some point. Yeah.
I still think that's very worthy of your completing it on your channel. 100%.
It would be fun, just because I want to do the supercut at the end, which is about 12 hours long, and then I can finally beat Mauler in video length. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
unfairly, but you will have beat him. Yes.
Yeah, but Mauler will just rise up and win that title back, so don't worry.
Yeah,
well, I'll watch the slugfest between these guys then. All it does is we all benefit from it. He
cannot be considered the medium man. He must be the long man.
He must be the long man, but you know, competition breeds success, so I'll try and push him. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Mando's the next one, and we'll see what happens after that, I think.
Nice. Well,
nice.
Thanks everyone for joining. I love doing this stream, so this is hella fun for me from Mondays.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's only like episode 4, but I'm already actually remembering that it happens, which is
well, you're not drinking tonight.
Yes.
I'm not sure what we're gonna do with this one, since this is the first one that's exclusively on my channel. If I'm gonna put it on the second channel or not yet, we'll see. But I'll discuss it with you.
I can't listen to it again then if you don't put it out.
Oh no, it'll be available. I just mean like if I take it down and re-upload it to the second channel or not yet.
Okay. You whittle it down to 10 minutes from all the cursing and all the other horrible
Just cut Vex out of it completely. You're all right.
Pixelate her picture.
Yeah,
if you
that might actually make it worse.
The first syllable of every word Vex uses, which is not proper, so we just cut it from that. So it's like, is it because he likes sucking cut, and then we cut off, and then...
Exactly. That's the best bet. That's the best thing to do.
All right, everybody, we love you all. Thank you so much. I don't think we missed any super chats for like the first time ever, so
there you go.
I'm sure someone will let
professionals.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Bye.
Or
Good night.
If we long out the outro for the next 15 seconds, it's directly on 3 hours 45.
Nope.
10 seconds left, though.
And we can keep Vex
took my buyback
from getting to her next stream.
5 seconds.
4, 3,
and
2,
bye.
1.
Bye.
Bye.